Denny Hamlin dominates the Sleep Fest 500 at Martinsville. Aaron Baum has a blankie. More on that here in a second. Welcome to the 645. Welcome back to another episode of the 645 show. I am one of your hosts, Derek Jewett, driver number 45, non-typical designs, Ford Mustang F-150, and right beside me, that handsome devil, driver number 6, non-typical designs, Ford F-150 and Ford Mustang, Aaron Bam, dropping bombs. I saw you kicking over the week. How was your week? How is it going?
Week's been going all right, man. Weather here has been kind of crazy, so picking and choosing when I was able to go to the field. Because I think we had like gusts of 39 miles an hour. And for those of you who punt footballs, you know that by the time you drop it out of your hand, it like blows 2 feet over and it completely, you almost whiff like Charlie Brown. So, um, anyway, had a pretty decent week, man. How was your week?
A lot of stress. I had my doctor's appointment. Not some good news, but not some bad news. So, just a lot of stuff I got to work on and to get back healthy. I'm still concussed. So,
Congratulations.
yeah. But then we had our NIS race that we did at Homestead. Feels like forever ago. I don't know about you, partner, but like this week feels like it dragged on. And then
Yeah,
we had the Mystic Racing League Talladega races, which you and I did Wednesday and Thursday, and then we didn't race Friday, and then we had the Martinsville races for NASCAR. So we have a lot to talk about, and it was opening week, baby. Go Chicago Cubs, okay? Even though they already had their two home games, even though they played in Tokyo, a couple about last week or 2 weeks ago. So, but yeah, let's get into it. Welcome to the pod. Welcome to the 645 pod. If you're new here, you'll find us on YouTube. Obviously, we're live streaming every Sunday after the Cup Series race, if there is one, and then we might be taking some random weeks off. We might have to reschedule because I got vacation coming up here in less than a month, partner. We got
yeah,
nothing.
excited.
Nothing. I just rebought tickets. I upgraded my seats. So yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I'm not excited that Nothing More is only playing 6 songs. Yeah,
That's short.
6 songs. House on Sand, Angel Song. If it doesn't hurt, Let 'em burn. Jenny. This is the time.
Wow.
No
Damn.
Spirit songs. What the fuck?
No
It
Spirits. Spirits is such a good album. But
is.
before we get too far in, you mentioned opening day baseball, and I want to mention something, which is what the is up with these bowling pin bats that the Yankees are using? Have you seen this?
Dude, the torpedo sticks that need to be
Dude,
banned.
those need to be banned. Like those literally need to be banned because or everyone's gonna catch on in a matter of a week. Like people are already scrambling to figure it out. But like, good lord. 9 home runs. Everything you make contact with is going to go up in the air with backspin and launch angle. Like, as long as it's not topped directly in the batter's box, it's going to be a home run. Like, that's insane, dude.
that's
That's
like me
crazy.
going on MLB The Show, turning on the difficulty to rookie, and just having 95 mile an hour lobbed fucking fastballs down the middle, like
Yeah,
you know,
crazy,
yeah.
crazy.
But we're not a baseball, football, hockey, golf, tennis, NBA, women NBA. Screw Angel Reese. You don't
Like,
deserve that money because you suck. Um, be like a Caitlin Clark. Is that her name?
Caitlin Clark, yeah, man.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. 1 point for
She's
Derek.
amazing. She single-handedly got me into betting on the
She
WNBA.
so right before we actually went live, I was on YouTube Reels, getting everything set up, and I was eating my dinner. Shout out Panda Express, firecracker shrimp Angus. Um, but it rolled up saying that comparing Angel Reese, and I'll make it short, comparing Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark together. Caitlin Clark, she is so good with basketball, and she doesn't even look like she's your normal athlete because of she doesn't wear any fancy jewelry or fancy clothes. She doesn't drive a fancy car. She still rents an apartment, and she's making $28 million with Nike. And Angel Reese is over here rebounding her own buckets that she can't make, 2 feet away. And she's, wearing diamonds on diamonds on diamonds and driving fast cars and probably has a fancy house and everything. And people need to be like Caitlin Clark, okay?
Yep.
Okay? All right.
Agree. Yeah. I mean, I love watching the Brick Factory as much as the next guy, but Angel Reese doesn't deserve her own
I
McDonald's meal.
speaking of which, I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually going to say something. Yesterday, I got the Angel Reese meal from McDonald's. I couldn't fit the burger in my mouth. I kept missing the hole. So, but like I said, we're not that type of podcast we used to be. But we're all racing now. We're all motorsports.
We might touch in the NFL more when that comes around and big games happen. We might go quickly over
Might,
maybe our picks or something.
yeah, yeah. Do like a dirty Modell.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Is it legal to bet in Kentucky?
Yeah, I have the FanDuel and
Okay.
DraftKings
All
and
right.
all
All
that.
right. All right. All right. All right. It's
Yeah.
it's legal here. It's been legal for like 4 years. Anyway, um, let's talk about NIS. We had both really bad NISs.
Do we have to talk about it?
I mean, we'll just skim through it. I'll skim through mine real quick. I can't remember where I qualified. I think I wrecked during qualifying, so I like started really like far in the back. I want to say like 22nd, 24th, something like that. And then I just slowly figured it out, like downshifting to fourth in the corners and running the low lane in 1 and 2 and running the high lane in 3 and 4. I started picking people off, and I went from like 22nd to like 5th, but the car just kept getting extremely loose, and it was just unstably loose. Like I know you talked about it, saying that your car was tight. Or no, sorry, your car's was loose. Mine was tight, and then it would just snap loose. Um, so and then just I had a bunch of people. I got right hooked like 4 times, and then just because of how much damage I had, it didn't even get tight anymore. It just like if you turn the wheel just like a centimeter, it was just like and away we go. So I got to the point where I damaged the car so much. I was like, please, for the love of God, make this end, please. So I don't even know where I finished. I finished like 29th or something like that. Lost like 40 fans. It
Oh,
was great.
that's brutal. Yeah, that was a weird setup because I was watching the eNASCAR guys like their streams throughout the week. Like a couple guys did the NIS early in the week, and I was able to watch, and they weren't shifting, even though like you people were shifting to fourth, and it seemed like that was the play. It kind of put more wear on the rear tires than you realize. Like, yeah, like it feels like you have drive off, and you do, but it just puts that much a little bit more torque on the tires that eventually it'll start to go. And my understanding is even that little bit, it'll last 15, 18, 20 laps. And then all of a sudden it's like, what the hell happened? Like we were talking about. And I believe my understanding is like obviously once that bottom lane gets hot, but also as those tires start to get heat in them and as that fuel burns off, the rear end starts to raise up. And the more that diffuser gets separated from the bottom, any little bit of movement can kind of snap that thing around. It almost feels like you're driving a Lamborghini or something around an oval track. It has a very strange sports car way about it, at
I
least in
woke
the
up in
sim.
the
But
new Bugatti.
my NIS race fucking blew. I've had an issue. They have 3 light bulbs in my ceiling, and they're not screw-in bulbs. They have like 2 prongs on either end, and they go weirdly, and like they don't make them anymore. But the housing here has, I guess, has a crap load of them. Anyway, so 1 out of the 3 was like flickering and giving me seizures and shit. And it happened during the NAS. And I took the cover off because it's like looking into the sun. I took the cover off, and I was like, I'm gonna watch and see which one's the blinking one out of the 3. And I couldn't, and it was killing me. And then all of a sudden it started blinking real bad. My girlfriend was here, relevant to the story, and I said, hey, I see the one that it is. And I was like, oh, that one. And she goes up there and she unplugs it. Okay, great. She takes it, she stands up on the bed that's right here. Okay, great. She steps, and amidst the blankets and the swamp of blankets and comforters, the TV remote was in the bed, and she stepped on it and turned the TV off mid corner. And it took a second. I was able to be like, I think I know where I am. And I didn't feel anything in the I was like, I've made it. I've made it a corner. But we're clamoring for the thing. She turns the TV on. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. You have to change the input. And then by that point, I went the replay and I saw what happened. I pulled off the racetrack, and I just smoked the fucking barrels on the divider of pit road. Literally, like, I aimed for them, and I bounced out, and I collected a guy, and he DM'd me. He goes, dude, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm sorry. I came to the mic. Hey, man, I'm sorry. That was a helpless feeling. That sucked.
Shout out to Aaron's girlfriend for.
And yeah,
It was a
but,
plan.
okay, I'm taking the blame on it because I'm not gonna lie to you, folks. I knew which bulb it was for a while, and I was
You haven't done anything about it.
and I just didn't do it. And then and then it came around where it bit me in the ass.
Yeah.
I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. I remember that was going on because he was in his race and I was in my race, and I was like, "Oh no. Oh no, don't say anything. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Don't laugh." I was like, I just kind of like muted my mic. I was like, "Ooh."
I was pissed.
I was like, "Ooh."
I was pissed.
Um,
I think I lost close to 100 I rating. I think I lost like either 90
not
high
a
90s or low
hundred
100.
fans. That's what we call I rating, ladies and gentlemen. We try to make it fun, but it's not fun. It's not unless you're
It kind
gaining
of feels
fans.
like it though. If you lose like 20 fans, it's kind of like, yeah, damn. Like, you kind of imagine the guy that, like in MLB The Show, and you can check your social media, and
Yep.
people message you, and it's like, you suck tonight, man. I'm not gonna root for you anymore. Like, you can almost
Yeah.
imagine that's what
Yeah,
it is.
or you had the hater that would always like, oh, Derek, blah 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 blah. Blah. I'm like, who is this guy? Like,
Yeah. It's one of those local small town autistic guys that takes the small town sport way too serious, and just yeah. Because I remember I played for like the Montgomery Biscuits, and like one of the accounts was like biscuits suck or something. I was like, but geez.
Yep. So we'll skip over the Mystic Racing League, and you want to stay for that because we got some hot takes, and going into that,
constructive criticism, but
it
hot
is
takes.
it is going to be very biased. It is going to be very criticized on how things played out during that week. So we'll skip over that. We'll go to the Truck Series race at Martinsville for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Pull up my notes here, partner. I apologize, my phone was running dead. I was playing too much drafty car during the Martinsville race at today. Here we go. All right, so on Friday, Daniel Hamrick secured his first career Truck Series race victory in a dramatic finish, driving the number 19 Chevrolet. Hemrick overtook Tyler Ankrum in the closing laps to claim the win. Ankrum, who led only 10 laps, settled for a second place, while Jake Garcia, finished third. Chandler Smith and Ben Rhodes rounded out the top 5. Your notable series leader Corey Heim dominated much of the race, leading 149 laps, but a late race incident regulated him to a 6th place finish. What do you think about that, partner? Obviously, I didn't watch it. I mean, my work has been very, very busy with everything that was going on. And I was going to miss it anyways because I was going to go ahead and race the Talladega race for the Mystic Racing League. And then by the time I got home, it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I was like, I am not doing anything. So, what do you think? Daniel Hemrick, Xfinity Series champion, obviously winning a Truck Series race. I don't even, is he a full-time Xfinity driver? I don't know.
I don't know, man.
You
Those
would
guys bounce around so much.
You
It's
would
hard to keep
think
track.
you would think he would be a full time driver in Xfinity, or like he would be a part time in Cup, being an Xfinity Series champion, right?
Yeah, you would
So
think, right? I'm not sure. He might be full time, and he might be subbing in for something. I'm really not too sure. I need to keep
I'm
more track of that.
I'm
But
just glad
happy
that
for him.
I'm just glad he got that we got to see a backflip. I'm I'm
Off the roof.
off the roof, off
Off
the
the. I don't even
roof.
think Carl Edwards did off the roof.
I think he may
A
have done
window
like
guy.
one or twice, but yeah, mainly the window guy. But I'm glad you brought him up. I am from Kansas and Columbia, Missouri, where Carl Edwards grew up, and I think he still currently lives in, is only like 2 hours away from where I live. So, um, yeah. So seeing a backflip from or from Daniel Hemrick brought a tear to my eye. I was like, Carl,
Was he always a backflip guy?
Daniel Hemrick, yeah, yeah. When he
He's always
won,
been a backflip
yeah,
guy.
when he won the Xfinity Series champion, 2020, 2021, I think he did a backflip.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
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 Good for those guys. I wish the Truck Series was easier to get on TV if you don't have a TV subscription, or like a TV package. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
trucks is kind of hard to like make time for on a Friday night sometimes. So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
the
with you,
only
man.
time, like, if I'm gonna watch a Truck Series race, and don't hate me for it, I'll watch the Daytona races, or the Daytona race, the first one. I'll watch a Talladega. Obviously, when I go to the Speedway, I'll watch them there, and then I'll watch the championship race. I won't watch anything else.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair. I can't say I'm any different. I'm basically the same.
All right, you ready to talk about this dumpster
Oof,
fire? What?
oof,
What?
oof.
What?
I'm just yeah. I have a couple hot takes. I'll let you get into it and we'll pick it apart because
The Xfinity Series
definitely
race, right?
yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. All right. All right. So Saturday night's Xfinity race was marked by multiple cautions, dramatic conclusion. Austin Hill capitalized on last lap incident to capture his second win of the season as the leaders navigated the final turn. Sammy Smith made contact with Taylor Gray, causing a multiple car incident. Hill maneuvered through the chaos, took the lead in the victory. Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier finished second and third. Respectively, Connor Zelich, who started from the pole and led a race-high 100 laps, who was involved in a late race caution, ended up finishing 28th. I do want to add, NASCAR officials will evaluate the last lap move by Sammy Smith and any penalties decision likely Tuesday. Bob Pocker said his guess is to be compared to Austin Dillon's Richmond incident. However, Sammy Smith did not win. Smith was 10th, but Gray was 29th, where Austin Dillon, who made contact with two cars, was docked 25 points in playoff eligibility.
A lot to get into here. What are your thoughts on this? I'm gonna read the temperature of the room here.
So, Martinsville, okay, let me take that back. Most of these races have gotten to the point where, and I don't know where it came from, where people just don't care about other people, where they're going to run into you, they're going to bump you, they're going to hit you, they're going to spin you, they're going to put you in the wall, they're going to put you in the barrels, they're going to put you. Carl Edwards put Brad Keselowski in the catch fence, at Atlanta, because Brad Keselowski put Carl Edwards in the catch fence at Talladega. So there is a lot look back into of how this all started, where these drivers coming up are just like, I don't care. I'm gonna run you over if you're in my way. I don't care if you're in the car or not. I'm gonna run you over. Shout out Tony Stewart. um, so- Bad joke. But I mean, the dude was like 5, 8 car lengths back. Sammy Smith was not gonna win that. He just he didn't putt him. He full on, you know, kickoff of the Super Bowl type kick. Like, you know, he took himself out of contention of not only winning the race but finishing in a great the position. But I I hate to tell you this. It has become this staple of the Xfinity series going to Martinsville. There's always going to be that late race incident where at the end of the race, the Xfinity cars are all parked up and they don't know where to go at the end of the race. Tell me I'm wrong.
So far, not looking too wrong.
So I don't know how you solve that because it is getting ridiculous. I'm not a Twitter guy. I'm not a TikTok guy. I'm mainly just Instagram. I'm on the gram. Okay, I'm on everything, but I'm mainly on the gram. Okay, and for the first time, I got on Twitter and to see Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bob Pockers, Jeff Gluck, all these NASCAR people, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, just like, this is the dumpster fire. What kind of garbage is this? What, like, they are critiquing this race, and I'm like, I don't even know what happened. So I went and looked. I was like, oh my god, like, wow. So I don't know. I mean, congrats to Austin Hill. How about Justin Allgaier though? Like, he's on fire. He won back-to-back races and then he finished third on Saturday or yesterday. So let's get your hot takes because I don't feel like I seared the steak. I didn't catch it on fire like you look like you're
No,
about to do.
I don't, I don't got too much really more to add. Just yeah, I just going back to what you just said, man. Like when you get those late race cautions at a place like that, it sometimes might not even come from the guy trying to punt whoever they're trying to punt out the way. It might come from 2 cars behind that, like just weird, funky accordion stuff. But I'm gonna defend Sammy Smith a little bit because apparently Gray flipped him off and was, swerving at him on the backstretch and doing all kinds of stuff, and he didn't really know why. Tempers get a little hot, well, kind of fuck this guy. And not to mention, he was up here and there was a car coming to the inside of Sammy Smith, so he had to shoot a gap. There was a target on Gray in the 54 up there, and it was like, well, I can get 2 birds with 1 stone.
Target acquired.
What was this?
Target acquired.
Yeah, basically a heat-seeking missile to fit, not only fit the gap to get back to the bottom to hook the bottom, but also to hit him. So I don't really, I don't hate it as much as other people do. I don't think it's great. As somebody who's a clean eye racer, I take a lot of pride in that. But you have to admit, I saw a tweet that said this. It goes, "That's what you get when you glorify Dale Earnhardt style of racing for 25 years." And that is unbelievably accurate because that's all that people remember him for. And it's like, still talked about in high praises. Like, you just move you out the way, the bump and run. Somehow that's become the only way to pass at short tracks. Especially Martinsville. It's like, oh, there's no real way to pass anybody else. So you just get up to somebody and
You
try
say
to
that to
bump
his
them out of the way
face.
hard enough.
You say that to his face right here, right now.
I'm not gonna. I love the little sunglasses, by the way. Those are amazing. Mr. Senior.
I didn't mean to wreck him. I just want to rattle his cage a little bit.
Mr. Senior, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. The way he did it was more of an art form because the way those cars were shaped. It's the same as if you change a football shape to a different style ball. Like the game will change with that different progression. We all know those old style cars had a really pointed nose. You could really wedge up somebody from behind. It wouldn't take much. Just a little was enough to get the rear end off, and you can get underneath them. It wouldn't take having to use a battering ram from 6 car lengths back. So it's a little more obvious now how you have to do it, but I don't I don't hate that move. NASCAR is trying to act like there's some moral high ground, like, oh, we're gonna listen to garbage. They secretly liked it. They're like, it was good for ratings. It was all over Twitter. It was all over Instagram.
Anything that will get the sport publicity, they're going to secretly like it.
Yep, that Ricky Stenhouse punching Kyle Busch in the face, and last year, and it was like you could tell that everyone was like, oh, we can't have that, but NASCAR was like, all right, it's gonna go everywhere, and we'll mind next year it's gonna come out, and in 3 years we're gonna go back and replay that. So moments like that make the sport awesome. You look back and you have stuff like that happen. It was egregious. It was egregious. You have the Jeff Gordons of the world. You have the Dale Earnhardts of the world. You have the guys that'll try to pass you as cleanly as possible until they, unless your name's Clint Boyer. But those guys that take the art form in passing, and there's some that'll just Ross Chastain or Dale Earnhardt you and just bump you out the way and say, fuck you. If you're still mad at the end of it, we'll talk about it, but you probably won't even be that mad about it at the end of it. So I don't know. That style racing is going to happen. There's nothing you can change. There is not a thing you can change. Once this box has been opened, you can't really close unless you start putting some really restrictive penalties on racing, like, hey, you can't bump somebody, and then that, kind of a gray area kind of deal, I think. I don't know what to make of it. It seems like Martinsville just is like that when you have a late race caution. Maybe the only way to not have that happen is old school, no green, white checker, just have it end under caution at Martinsville. Maybe that'll decentivize people from doing it, because I don't know any other way for that not to happen. If there's a caution inside of 6 to go, and as long as NASCAR doesn't add 4 extra caution laps like some leagues we know in the world, then that's just going to keep happening. So I don't know, partner. It was egregious. He definitely meant to jack him into the fucking upper deck, but kind of liked it. I don't know.
It was warm and then it was cold. I kind of liked it. All right. Speaking of kind of liking it and peeing in your seat, Denny Hamlin wins the Cup Series race tonight. He dominating fashion, led a bunch of laps. Caution-filled race 2. Penske having battery issues. A lot to talk about here. So I'll talk with the battery issues. So it was Logano and Barry, right?
Yeah, Barry got hit. Barry was leading a bunch of laps. 21 looked really good. And then coming out of pit road, I'm not sure if you watched the TV broadcast. That's all I watched today. Because unfortunately, my max for BK's in-car expired, and I didn't want to repay it today. So
me too. I was like, well, I don't really want to pay it right now. I'll pay it next week. So
yeah, how'd you watch it?
The same thing. Well, so I have Spectrum. However, I just canceled my Spectrum stuff, so I had to watch it through the Fox Sports app. And let me tell you, all you fans complaining about the Fox Sports being really, really bad, I'm one of those people too. What the hell is that, Fox Sports? Okay, how many commercials are we gonna fucking need? Okay, HBO Max, literally HBO Max, $10 a month. I should have just paid it. I should have just paid it. Okay, I see what you guys are bitching and complaining about every week. Like, oh my god, I was like, all right, commercial, okay, eat some slice of pizza, get on my phone, play a little bit of Drafty Car, and then I get up and I'm like, they're still in commercial. I just did 2 races of Drafty Car. They're still in commercial break? It's a Martinsville race. It's not Talladega. Like,
yeah.
Fox.
Welcome to the club, man.
It was so bad. And then
and it's the same nauseating production
The
every time.
broadcast was, oh my god, dude, the only reason why I didn't fall asleep during that race is because I took a nap before the race. I shouldn't have done that. Because I was like, man, I really need to take a nap right now. Nope, more drafty car. But,
At least you stayed awake. I was fighting it too, man, because we've yelled at it before. I'm glad you saw it today because there were a couple moments in this race where it was really bad. The production was legitimately terrible. A car spins around Mike Joy. Oh, one goes around in three. That would be the 17 of Chris Buescher or whatever. Like pretty boring. No anything going on. Even when at one point people were three wide and it was like, oh hey, look at him go. Like there's not really any like thing behind it. It seems like they don't care. It seems like it's almost like hey, the carnival's in town. That's like there isn't like a, you know what I'm saying? Like the way they present it via their voice and mannerisms is funky. And dude, the damn freaking production is so nauseating. It's the same shots, little kid in slow motion with the earphones on with some shirt of whatever driver that week. And then it's the same production, the same cars going on in slow motion, and then it's Joey Logano crossing his arm. And then it's like, dude, it's nauseating. It's like copy and paste over and over and over again. And it's that way every fucking week for the last 7 years. Maybe even longer. I just can't remember that far back. But it is so bad, and we'll get more into the race as we talk about as this goes. But man, I'm at the point where I can't wait for NBC, and I'm gonna redo my HBO subscription because at least I could watch the in-car. The only thing I have keeping me awake is TJ Majors in my ear talking to BK. It's the only way you stay awake, man. Because a couple times I was falling asleep, and it's like when it got, I believe it was the beginning of the last stage. It was pretty long green flag run for a while. We'll go chronologically when we get to there, but there was a point where it was so boring and it was such single file racing, and the only passing that was happening was Burt Myers being passed or Casey Mears being passed as lap down people, and then eventually there might be some pass for 12th to 11th, and that's it. Like, but they had nothing to talk about. There's zero chemistry in the booth. People say that online all the time. Kevin Harvick has the personality of like kind of like a wet piece of wood. Like I don't know if he tries to joke, but it comes across very dry and weird. And then Clint Boyer, you can tell like he's probably really funny when behind the scenes with a beer in his hand. Like he's probably a really funny guy, but it just doesn't really work. And Mike Joy is just, oh, hey, I'm Mike Joy, and then that's it. And the Fox production's so copy and paste. It just is awful. Anyway, rant over. But
the
yes,
the reason why he's, as good as a wet board is because he didn't sign my diecast back in
yeah, I know.
2017.
He, yeah, I know. He deserves everything negative that comes to him from that.
Yeah, yeah.
And if being a shitty broadcaster is one of them, I like his podcast. Well, that's a different format, but live racing, like sometimes there's just dead air, and it's like I know there isn't a lot to talk about, boys, but can we cut to something in the pits? Any drama? Talking to crew chiefs? Watching the 2011 NASCAR season, they would cut down to people in the pit road. I'm up here at top with, Greg Irwin, Greg Biffle's crew chief. What are you thinking? Something else than, oh,
I
there's
will
Hamlin zoomed in really far.
I will say, so I watched the Tokyo games between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs. And it got to the point where it was a pitching duel. Like, the Dodgers were up like 6-1. The Cubs weren't going to come back. They had nothing to talk about because they were the only two teams playing because it was, 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. Okay. You know what they did? They sent one of the production girls out to go and try these different foods. Okay, they had 3-inch fucking French fries. Okay, 3-inch French fries, and they weren't soggy. Like you pick it up and I'm like, first of all,
Wow.
ma'am, how do you get a French fry that long and in one stick? Okay. All right?
Wow.
Okay? Second of all, how many times are we going to fucking talk about the goddamn Martinsville hot dog? Okay? Jesus Christ! And then you had the fucking you had Jamie McMurray, some random dude just they were like they probably were like
Chris Myers, and you couldn't even hear him.
you had Chris Myers, you had Jamie McMurray, and then you had just a random dude. Like they were like, two white guys. Let's pick that black guy. Like
Yeah, hey, we're inclusive. It's like, all right, jeez. And Chris Myers even insulted him a little bit. He was like, "Oh, I can tell you've had a few."
Yeah,
said some shit like
yeah. I'm like,
what the fuck?
What are we doing?
Like, I was kind of like, hey, what the fuck? Like,
and then Chris Myers didn't want to eat the hot dog. Then why did you even get the hot dog? Like,
I know, dude. I don't know who the production manager is at Fox for NASCAR, but
hire me.
Anybody.
Surely. I do so much freaking video work, man. I'm proud of myself. So somebody needs to hire me. And then I want to backtrack. You said TJ Majors, okay? A little side note, okay? I may have to pay $5 for it, okay? But the $5 was worth the question, okay? So every Tuesday, the Dale Jr. Download goes live, and he has a segment called Ask Junior, presented by Xfinity Mobile. And I was in the comments, how do I become a spotter? How do I become a starter? How do I become a spotter? How do I become a spotter? I was like, man, these guys aren't reading the comments. $5 super chat. I was up there for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And then they were like, and we got a $5 super chat from Derek. I was like, that's me. You didn't have to say that I spent $5, but all right, okay. You could have kept that to yourself.
Hey TJ, this loser named Derek paid for half of your latte. You better answer his question.
Yeah, they were like, oh, dude, TJ, you're gonna buy everybody lunch. With what? $5 is not even gonna get you one meal.
You split a bag of pretzels.
Jeez. Anyway, yeah, I asked TJ how to become a spotter, and I think it would be cool to become a spotter. I mean, I spot you. I love it. You tell me. I know you lie, but you tell me all the time I'm a good spotter. I've spotted 4 different drivers on iRacing, so I want to get into something with racing. We all want to have a job that we love, and I love motorsports, and Aaron knows me. If I want something, I'm going to try my damnedest to have it happen. It's a realistic goal, but it's a kind of a realistic stretch of a goal, if that makes sense. Because I don't really have any local tracks that are asphalt that needs a spotter. I have dirt tracks around me, but dirt don't use spotters, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do. And he was like, Cars Tour. Yeah, let me just move back to Florida real quick, because that's all you fucking drive is in Florida. So I don't know. Maybe starting next year I'll start having people pay me a spot. I feel like I'm a good spotter. I could be better in some situations, but I feel like I'm a good spotter. So I don't know, driver. What do you think? Come on, insult me.
Your spotting services.
Insult me.
No, man. I got nothing bad to say. I appreciate your spotting, especially like when you're describing like a couple of cars in front of me, like in that situation where you're like, there's one like, because I can't see like on a plate track, especially. I always appreciate that because it lets you know how hard you can go. But I think you should start charging, like, per NIS, charge like $10.
I was gonna say
$5.
5, yeah. $5 so I can give it back to TJ. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I kind of geeked out a little bit. We have us two and 2 others in a little Snapchat group chat that we talk NASCAR and a couple other things, and that's where I share my paint scheme to you guys and whatnot. And Yeah, I left you guys with a cliffhanger because you're like, "What was your question?" I sent you the clip, and then right before he answered it,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta go and watch it. Um, so that was pretty cool. So, but going back to the real race, Denny Hamlin wins. Hasn't won at Martinsville. I think that's not his like home track, is it? Or is
I
it?
think
It's either
is it
Richmond or Martinsville.
it's either Richmond or Martinsville. It might be Richmond.
But he
He's very good
dominated.
at Martinsville.
Yeah, he dominated Martinsville. He dominated today. Haven't won there since in 10 years, and to finally get a win, and let alone the second race, Progressive, his newest sponsor on the hood. And we didn't really talk about this last week. What do you think of that paint scheme? Because I mean we're sponsored by a paint scheme livery business, and seeing that, it gives me like Sirius XM vibes of like Martin Truex Jr. or Carl Edwards
Yeah.
type. But what'd you think of the paint scheme?
Well, I always like a white and blue. That's like it. For some reason, that just looks really good. And for some reason, looks really good at short tracks. This Reese hat, by the way, comes from 2019 Brad Keselowski winner. He drove a white and blue Reese car. It just looks really cool. So I'm always a fan of that. I think Progressive, it used that, since the number is not centered, they used the length of the side panel very well. And I like how the P connected down the front of it too. I like how it like continued that
Yeah,
down.
they were talking
Um,
about that like on his podcast. Sorry to cut you off, but they talked about that like, well, why is the P not like centered? Like, why is it slanted? And everybody on the team was like, it's easy to spot. I was like, yeah, it is easy to spot. And then seeing that like white stripe kind of like come down the way it does on the hood, so I like it.
yeah.
I think it's a good fit for him.
Yeah. Speaking of paint schemes, being an RFK guy, I always see the RFK schemes for the week. And Busher's old El Paso, Texas, or taco car was cool. Apart from the white hood, Kroger, listen to the fans. We don't want a white hood. They ruin all the paint schemes. They had El Paso. It looked awesome. They had mozzarella sticks last week. They had the applesauce for the Clash. Kroger on the front. Like this big white, doesn't matter what color the rest of the body is, but the white hood sucks. So Kroger, please, dear God, don't ruin this. Like you're on a roll of like really cool paint schemes. Please don't ruin it.
There's two things I want to talk about. Okay, and then I'll give it to you, or two questions. So first one is, what did you think about the Noah Gragson Chris Buescher incident where Gregson ended up like dooring him under caution and flipping him off and everything? And then the second
Yeah.
one is, did you see Chase Elliott's throwback scheme, and why is it like not even a throwback scheme? Like it's a throwback scheme, but it's not.
You'll have to give me a live reveal of this, partner, when we get to that point, because I have not seen it yet. Um, you have to
Will
find
do.
find a clip. Uh, but yeah, like Busher had another weird one. Busher, not only did he get with Gregson there, up thing, like you run over another person's tire, like they do something and it launches the front end. We haven't seen that apart from this year. Like the next gen car's been out since 2020 or 2021, and we haven't seen that happen apart from this year. So I'm not sure what changed. To be honest with you. Um, but yeah, I'm curious to see this Chase Elliott. Is that it right here?
So fans, you won't see this, but you could go look. So this is what he's driving. Let me find what he's throwing it back to. Um,
Is it on Instagram?
right here. Yeah, it is.
Ah,
Yeah,
it's like
it's not
I
even
don't.
it. Like
Yeah,
what
it's not
like
even it. Why is
it's
it gray?
yeah, yeah.
I think here's one of my favorite topics when you start getting into throwbacks and how NASCAR like idolizes the old times so bad. Like in 10 years, we're still gonna be doing throwbacks to these cars we've done throwbacks to. Like maybe in 15 years we'll have like a HendrickCars.com Larson throwback or something like that. But I do like the fact that they got sport clips back on,
Yeah.
like for that race.
That
And
this being a Carl Edwards throwback, awesome. I think that's the best throwback yet. I don't like Carl Larson, but this, I mean,
I like that scheme though.
it is. It is. I don't
It's
like Carl
badass.
Larson, you know, but I mean, I didn't even like this one. And this is a junior throwback. I didn't even like this one. I was like,
Everybody secretly likes the Cincinnati Bengals helmets, but they won't admit it.
yeah, I like the white ones. I
Those are
don't.
cool.
I don't like. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Anyway,
I want to give a shout out to 2311 and not just T Red, but I want to give a big shout out to Bubba. I'm not a big Bubba guy, and I'm not gonna probably ever be one, but I want to shout out him and Denike, the crew chief. We've heard good things about Charles Denike. We've heard that he's a smart guy, and I think that's been really cool to see how crew chiefs and moving crew chiefs around correctly can benefit a team because they got rid of Booty Barker, who is, Booty Barker, everyone knows him, and you make a change to like really smart analytical Charles Denike, and it's like, okay, immediate success for Bubba. When would you ever see Bubba running as front or as qualifying as well consistently throughout his career at multitudes of tracks? So it's like, okay, the 23 car is like looking really, really good, which is not good for me as a Ford guy. And I bring that up to talk about selfishly to talk about Brad Keselowski because he made a big crew chief change. One of the few guys to change crew chiefs this offseason. Matt McCall ran, and I was calling for Matt McCall's head by the end of last year. And then you bring in Jeremy Bullins. We're going back to Penske and the 21 team. Jeremy Bullins was at the beginning next gen car that first year with the 21 at Penske. And he apparently was dog shit with next gen cars. So you can kind of see like when you had Matt McCall last year, like we might qualify in eighth, ninth. Like you might have those days. It doesn't look very good for the sixth camp, and I think I'm pressing the panic button, not only as a fan, but like as a person as a fan, but like as anybody else. Like, yeah, the sixth team is like struggling mightily, especially when Priest doing unbelievably well, Busher qualifying really, really well. So it's brutal, man. I'm not sure over the radio you hear crew chiefs talk about adjustments and what they're going to do. It seems like Bullens makes a lot of adjustments, which I like, because if you make an adjustment and it doesn't work, you can figure out how to or why it didn't, and therefore make it work. You and me talk about this all the time, and setup building and racing and stuff. So that's cool that he takes big swings. A lot of the time, they're swings and misses from what I'm hearing, and that's concerning because if you're taking swings and misses on like pit stop adjustments in this car when it's like tire pressure, maybe wedge. Like you don't got a lot to play with. So it's like if you're having a tough time figuring out how to make it looser or tighter just on a pit stop when there isn't a ton of options, I could kind of see where the full setup plate might be kind of tough for a guy that doesn't know the next gen car. So as a six fan, I'm kind of worried hitting the panic button.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you guys need to do. I think. I think that clock, unfortunately, is ticking.
And Brad
Unfortunately,
drives his ass off. It's
I,
not even him.
you
That's the
see,
shitty part.
these guys that we grew up watching, kind of become wash. Like, do we ever think that, you know, Kyle Busch, who has over 200 career wins in all three series, be winless in 2 years or whatever? Do we think Jimmy Johnson, because this is before the next gen car, Jimmy Johnson goes and wins his seventh title, goes winless the next year? It was the same car. It was the same car.
It's tough, man. It's tough because when you bring up a guy like Kyle Busch, look who dominated today, JGR. So it's not like and Christopher Bell hauls ass, and Denny Hamlin most of the time hauls ass, and Ty Gibbs is struck with just the worst luck of all time. Um, but I feel like it. I don't know. I feel like when you have a guy like Kyle Busch, I feel like that's just car based. Like RCR has kind of blown for a while, and they haven't really done anything. So I think that's all team based. Because I feel like if Denny Hamlin left and if Denny Hamlin went to RCR instead of Kyle Busch, I think Denny Hamlin would also be winless. I think he'd be in the exact same boat.
I think here's my theory. I think it's getting to that time where Denny Hamlin is going to hang it up, but I think he wants to go and retire with the team he created. I think he'll move the 11 to 2311, so therefore it's 2311. It's not 23 and you know 56 or something like that. And then I think JGR goes back and picks up Kyle Busch. I
Wow.
think that is how I see it. Um, Maybe Kyle Busch can take Ty Gibbs under his wing because Ty Gibbs, I know you like him, but he absolutely blows. I don't know what
His
it is,
luck. His luck. His
but
luck is like
Ryan
yours, man.
Blaney, Ryan Blaney has
Yeah,
bad
same thing.
luck, but he's doing way better in stages than Ty
True.
Gibbs. So
That's true.
um, I don't know. That's the way I see it. Um, I think Riley Herbst might get kicked off. I just
Ooh.
if I mean if they can't get a fourth charter, I think Riley Herbst gets kicked off because Bubba's really doing good. Tyler Reddick has shown like championship potential. I know this is Riley Herbst's first year in the next gen, but I mean he's finishing like 20th, 30th. I'm like, God, you got all these people, man. I mean, Bubba Wallace, his first year as 2311 wasn't as bad as Riley Herbst.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know that it's
It's
kind
still
of
early. It's still early.
T Regis. He needs to get it together. But as we're approaching the 1 hour mark, again, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Rather, if you're on Spotify or YouTube, we appreciate everything you guys do. We have gotten comments, and well, I've gotten comments. But doing everything we can. We finally got the camera working for Aaron. His mouth is matching up with the words that come out of it.
That's amazing.
But as always, unless you have anything to add on to the NASCAR week before we get into, um, he's busting out the
I
the phone.
Yeah, just to pull up just the final running order here. Hamlin followed by Christopher Bell P2, Bubba Wallace P3. Big day
He
for
he
him.
finished third last week.
Yep. Dude, Charles Denike, bro. Like that's crazy to have just different tracks and be able to finish in the top five, can qualify well. I'm actually happy for
I
Bubba
think I
Wallace,
think
man. I think
it's that and the fact that the mentality of him becoming a dad. Like everybody
mm,
in that camp has said that Bubba Wallace has changed ever since he became a dad. His
I believe it.
mindset, his attitude, his emotions, everything has changed because of him becoming a dad, which is great. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm excited to see Bubba Wallace as an athlete. I know you're an athlete as well. But when things out of your control affect your performance and therefore people it affects people's perception of you, there's nothing more frustrating. My last year at Murray State, I'm sure we'll talk more about football at some point, and I want to get into all these stories, but my last year at Murray State, we had a new long snapper come in and it messed up the field goal operation. But no one knew that. So no, like none of the fans know that. The coaches expect you to perform the same as I imagine like Bubba Wallace, the engineers expect him to perform the same and do well, even though the cars they're building aren't correct. And a lot of the time, people can turn, shit into gold. A lot of times, good athletes can turn shit into gold. But the times where you can't, and people are still pissed off at you, or they're criticizing you, or this guy sucks. What's going on? I got that personally my last year of playing football, and it was very very frustrating. So I could see a lot of myself sometimes in Bubba Wallace when he's frustrated with the media, and he's just like, "Well, don't give a fuck, whatever." Like you can it's the day-to-day, minute-to-minute interactions that lead you to that point. When you know you're good, when you know I know damn well I'm one of the best kickers in the country, but boss, I know damn well I'm one of the most talented guys, but no one's believing me. So I'm excited to see now the dad mentality thing is awesome. New crew chief, whole different way of thinking from what it sounds like at 2311 at airspeed. It sounds completely different than Booty Barker. No disrespect to him, but it sounds like a different operation there. And Denny Hamlin was real excited about that this offseason. He goes, we're really, really excited about that pickup. So I'm excited to see Bubba, his personality become cool again and become like, okay, like we're good. Like everything's cool. I don't got to prove myself or try to struggle to stay afloat. I'm very excited to see
Yeah,
that
and sorry to
development in
cut you
him.
off. The one thing I wanted to add was the fact that you said that his mentality was when he got out of the car, he would say "fuck the media," like whatever, we suck. That's that's how I feel with this season so far with the Mystic Racing League, and a lot of people, and I know you and Harris probably thought the same thing. Like, Derek's getting back into his, where he self implodes, he's self destructing, like it's getting to the point again. But I just I could see a lot of myself in Bubba of like, man, like I have the talent, I have the skills. You know, we'll talk a little bit more about the whole I rating in the league, but I mean, I've been doing this longer than them, and I'm getting beat by them because I keep getting caught up in some type of mess, and it's just like, why the fuck am I even doing this? So, same thing with Bubba. Like, why the fuck am I even doing this? Like, we can't get it right. So, um, but yeah, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, and just to top that off about him is you have guys that I mean, you're like almost unfortunately surrounded by guys that are really good. Like Denny Hamlin's your boss. Like fuck. Like kind of no reason to not be good. Michael Jordan's your co-owner. You're surrounded by all of JGR. You sit in all of JGR's meetings. You're expected to be like, why aren't you great? What the fuck? So that's just it's cool to see him as much as I don't want to see another competitor do better than Brad, it's cool to see like literally an overnight switch. Like crew chief dad next season, completely different guy. Just I want to give him a bunch of praise because I've been a big critic of Bubba Wallace throughout the years, even when he was a Roush guy in the Xfinity Series. So I'm going to give him his due and kind of eat some of my words to him. But P4 Chase Elliott, Elliott Nation, congratulations.
We're good. We're good.
Right?
We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Um,
That was weird. We're good.
P4 Chase Elliott. Good for him. Another one of those guys that unfortunately it's good for the sport when he does well. Like I hate to say that, but when he does well, people enjoy it, and that's good for the sport. So good for him. Kyle Larson P5. So you have basically three JGR. You have Toyota JGR 1 2 2311 P3. Then you have Chevy being Hendrick with Larson in fourth, or Larson in fifth, Elliott in fourth, and then P6 Ross Chastain. And he was kind of giving Larson a little bit of shit. He was kind of not, which I love. I almost put the Ross Chastain hat out because I love that. The Hendrick calling up, with this guy and still not giving a fuck. That's cool. Like that, I'm not gonna lie, that's badass. And Chastain finishes P6 because of it. Poetic Justice Larson P5, Chastain P6. Want to shout out the 60 of Ryan Preece, finishing P7, his highest career finish at Martinsville. Awesome for him. Slowly becoming a Priest guy. I am appreciating. I just made that up. We're gonna put that on a shirt. I'm appreciating his humor and his outlook on stuff. So good for them. It sucks as a BK guy because they're in the same fucking building and they run like completely different everything. Anyway, Loey Jagano finishes P8 after winning stage one. Good solid recovery for him after being caught up in some racing bumping and grinding. Chase Briscoe P9 and then Gilliland P10. Not gonna lie to you, we were stuck. We being the sixth car, we were stuck behind Gilliland for a very long time. We were 20th and he was 19th. And this is when I texted you like, "There's no passing." I went on the lap times. Everybody was within 2/10 of each other at any given point. And for those of you who aren't into racing, it's as almost like, you're 2/10 of a second off. It's like, okay, like, you're fast, but if everybody is running the same speed and the tire fall off is the same for everybody, you're gonna get the same. It's gonna be a gap from here to there to there to there to there to there to there to there, and you get to about here, and then there's a stage. Like, we were stuck behind them for a very long time. I was getting real frustrated because, like, we had a tire advantage over him, could never get there, and it was very frustrating. So, but good finish for Gilliland. Notables: Blaney finishing 11th after having evaded some issues. Could have been issues with batteries. Not really sure what's going on in the Penske quality control camp. It seems like they put a Boeing DEI hire to quality control some of their stuff. McDowell P12 in the 71 car. It is crazy, the parity of just anybody could be in the top 10 or top 15 at any given point. Gibbs P13, Reddick P14. Ty Dillon ran pretty well, low key. Like, in the 10 car, like, what the fuck? Like, who even owns the 10 car? Like, just shit like that
I
is
think
very wild
the
to me.
colleague owns that, but I wanted to throw in after the race, it looks like Reddick and Gibbs were going to get into it because at the end of the race, or right at the end of the race, Gibbs gave a little old, excuse me, see you later to Tyler Reddick to take 13th. And I didn't appreciate that.
Well, didn't Reddick get into Gibbs and send him a little bit?
Okay, well, here's the thing, okay? It's a short track, okay?
Oh, 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 oh,
Okay? Okay? So what? You finish 40th every race. Go back to Xfinity. You won a championship there, okay? Okay? You
Strong words from a
get out
fellow
of Tyler
KGR.
Reddick's way and stay out of his way, okay? I think
Wow, strong words
you
to a
want to
Toyota.
you want to know what I think that Tyler Reddick needs to do.
What?
And I'm telling you, I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of the mullet. But ever since he started growing the mullet, he sucked. Okay? Okay? Chop that thing off. It's reduces airflow, okay? Okay?
Yeah.
More downforce. We're gonna be faster. And he got a little chunky. You need to get on some factor meals. Okay?
Wait, who's gotten chunky?
Tyler Reddick.
Has he?
You get on some factor meals, okay? I know you're becoming a dad again, okay? Get on some factor meals. Use discount code DJ10 to save you 10% off on your first order at factormeals.com. But okay,
That's legit.
okay.
Way to sneak that in there.
You need to slim down, chop it off, okay? Keep it in your pants, maybe. I don't know. Okay? We can't be finishing the way we're finishing.
Ty Gibbs also might have been pissed because he was dealing with cool suit issues. So he might have been a little hot and frustrated.
Okay.
P16 goes to Zane Smith. P17, Kyle Busch. P18, Austin Dillon. So our CR guys, 17, 18. Hocevar, 19. Hocevar, that is a motherfucker that was raised on iRacing. You can tell because that dude drives how I imagine an eNASCAR Coke Series guy to drive IRL. Like, real snappy on entry, I'm just gonna be a twitchy son of a bitch and just drive really hard and don't give a fuck. Which is kind of funny because it ends up working out in this next gen car. Like, that's why he's quick sometimes. It's just because, like, he just throws it into the corner. You have, like,
My
the
thing is
Brad
though,
Keselowski guys that are real gentle in entry, and then you have Carson that's just like,
he is racing in the Cup Series. Okay. Why are you still driving on a G29, bro?
I know.
Why are you still driving on a G29? Okay?
I know.
Get
That
you a
throws me
Moza.
every time.
Get you the G926 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Have Bubba Wallace hook
blows
you
me
up
away.
with some Logitech shit, man. Come on. Stop spending
is
it on
brutal.
some trying to get a girlfriend at the tracks. Maybe spend it on something to actually maybe get you a win.
That is actually hilarious that you bring that up because I noticed that too, and I was like, ugh, because he did it in like the trailer at
Yeah,
Daytona when it was
I can
raining,
understand the trailer,
and I
but
thought
when
that
he
was it. I was like, oh,
but
temporary.
when he's at home, he's driving the G20.
Yep.
I'm like, I used to drive the G29, and now I have a Moza. Like,
Yep, I was a 20. I was a 27 guy. Yeah, 29. Yeah, G29, and the 920 is the Xbox version. The 27 was the predecessor to the 29. It's even older than that. But yeah, I thought it was
anyway,
temporary, just like the trailer rig, and I was like, oh, nice trailer rig. And then
yeah,
at home, I'm like, what?
yep,
Yeah, same thing.
no,
I want to give a big fuck you to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., by the way. He finished his P20. I want to give him a fuck you because um, for the second that I was able to watch Brad Keselowski in car, like when it panned to him for a second, just, build some Marine sponsorship, trying to get, the camera on. I saw a total fucking NIS move. This was the biggest NIS move I've ever seen. So we're on Brad's onboard back here. You have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. up ahead going into the corner. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. completely blows past the braking point, locks his tires up, fucking has to not crank the wall. We catch up, we take the inside because he's like basically wrecked, smoke, everything. He then downshifts and then races us and fucking door bangs us going into the next corner. It's like, hey, asshole, how about you take a break for a minute, pal? How about you cool off? Because that previous corner, you about fucking put it in the wall. That was one of the more iRacing moves. And then we never passed him again. We never got around to Stenhouse again. He just stayed in front of us the whole time. And I was like, what a piece of shit. Like, I know in iRacing, if I bend a corner and a guy behind me, seizes the opportunity, I'm like, all right, I get it. I fucked that up. Asshole. Not cool.
asshole.
So that's all I got. No one else really to talk about. Shane Van Gisbergen's wheel coming off. They never screwed it on all the way, and that's what fucked Brad Keselowski's day. He was one half a corner away from getting back on the lucky dog spot. Shane Van Gisbergen goes out, fucking tire falls off like a Nimrod, and therefore that makes the whole pit cycle up. Anyway, race was low key kind of boring. Out of 100, I give that race like a 63 out of 100.
I give it
I
a
don't, I didn't love it.
72.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I mean,
I,
I
the
probably would have given it
Rex,
higher if my guy finished better. But yeah, what is that about?
the Rex.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
So you know what's not bad though?
What's that, Martin?
Hmm? You know what's not bad? Hold on, I'm trying to find what page we're on. Okay, all right. Not typical designs. Okay, this episode is of 645 is brought to you by Non-Typical Designs, your one-stop shop for custom race graphics, wraps, and sim racing liveries. Whether you're tearing it up in the track, real life, or dominating the virtual world in iRacing, Non-Typical Designs has you covered with top-tier designs that makes you stand out of the competition. From wild color schemes to sleek professional looks, they do it all. And the best part, affordable pricing, unmatched attention to detail. So if you want to look fast, stand still, checking out Non-Typical Designs today is your to go. Find them on social media, on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, at non-type. That's NONTYP design. Tell them 645 sent you to get you a paint scheme like you see on us. Yeah. Colton
Yeah,
Loomis.
shout out Colton. He's been awesome this past week. He threw some last minute touch ups on some cars for us to make us eligible for the Mystic League race, which I believe we're going to get into probably right about now.
Yeah, again,
Go ahead. Go
fore,
ahead. Go
forewarning
ahead.
before we get into it. Again, this is going to be very biased. This is going to be very criticized, whatever you want to look at it. I want to say, because I know that some, if not most, of our viewers are from the league. This is not bashing. This is not, pointing fingers. I'm not saying that. Hell, you can listen to it and not do a damn thing. I am basing my reaction, and Aaron's basing his reaction from the two races that we attended and how they played out, mainly on the Xfinity Series race. The truck race was actually pretty fun until towards the end, and we'll talk about that. So we'll go back and forth on the truck race, and then we'll go back and forth on the Xfinity race. because I had an event. Excuse me, I had eventful situations. Oh my gosh, I had eventful situations. You had some eventful situations, and we'll just kind of go back and forth with that. But I want to start before the race. So the day of the Truck Series race, you sent me a message, and that message was no. Okay, I'll go ahead and say it, even though you were the one who sent it. If he wanted me to have a spotter Wednesday or Thursday, and whatever race I picked, he would race the opposite. So if I picked the Truck Series for him to spot me, he would race the Xfinity Series, and that's that. No, so I picked the Xfinity Series for him to spot me because I wanted points. I wanted to gain the points, and then you were going to race that Wednesday. Well, like you said, Colton Loomis needed to get you a paint scheme. He did it on his lunch break. So shout out to him. And then yeah, so qualifying, when we had to qualify in, I think they had to send like 7 people home, 6 people home, something like that. How I know with Talladega it's a little bit different, but just overall, if we were at Talladega, if we were at like Bristol, and they were sending people home, how does that make you feel? Like, how does it make you nervous? Does it make you excited? Like, what does it make you feel? Because for me, I'm like, I don't really. The only thing it makes me is like, just qualify in. That's all you have to do. Just qualify in. So I don't get nervous. I don't get the butterflies. I don't get excited. I'm just like, get in, bro. That's it.
Yeah, I get nervous. I love it. I thought you were gonna have more to that. No, dude, I love it, man, because it adds an element of danger. It adds an element of like, oh, if you don't know what you're doing, like you might scrape the wall. Like yeah, at maybe a track like a Dover or a Darlington or something. And it just anytime there's a potential consequence for doing poorly, it always adds an element of excitement. Um, I think I qualified second, I believe.
Yeah. So you qualified
But
second. I qualified sixth.
yeah. So I know we were up in the front half. Just I didn't want to take any chances, so I went laser mode. I was like, I'm not just gonna willy nilly because my plan initially was to just run the top both laps and run in the back. He said, whoa, 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 whoa! You missed the drivers' meeting. There's a lot more people than we think there's gonna be. They're gonna have to send some home. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I need to lock in. Um, Thankfully, Talladega is a track where I know I can hold a steady wheel and put a good lap down. The Truck Series race was awesome. I had a great time with the Truck Series race. That was very fun. That's what I expect kind of a league race at a place like that to kind of be. I had a very good time.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch or race in the Cup race, but if I had to compare the truck and the Xfinity Series race, the truck race was stellar. We only had one caution besides the stage brake caution in stage one. Um, you had to go to the back because you missed the drivers' meeting. So the goal was for both of us to link up, go or like both of us go to the back or stay up front, whatever. But since you were in the back and I was up front, I was going to go to the back. And right when I made the move to go to the back to come get with you and link up and try to maneuver around, everybody behind me was just getting 3 wide, 4 wide, swerving from the top to the bottom, up to the top. It was just like, if I was on the bottom, I would have just pulled out. But since I was on top, I would have had to go to the wall, and I couldn't really get down the way I wanted to, so I would have had to go up to the wall, and everybody was just swerving around. I was like, I'm going to get wrecked going to the back. So I'm going to stay right here and I'll try to figure it out. And I'm sure you're going to figure out and we'll link up and go from there. Stage one, I think I finished like second or third. And I think you finished like fifth, right? Or just
Didn't we win a
outside.
stage?
No, we won a stage in the Xfinity series. We didn't win a
That's right.
stage.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
We got stage points though. Like you finished
yeah.
third. I think I finished fifth.
Yeah.
I
So
think or something like that.
I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Again, with everything that's going on in my life personally, I'm a little stressed out. So I was popping some Zins in. I was feeling a little good, a little too good. So I was cheering because I like got like 3 stage points. I was like, yeah, woo, screaming at the top of my lungs. I was being a little obnoxious, just a little bit. Because I went every so often I'll go back and watch a couple minutes of my streams, make sure everything was looking good. And the minute I selected, it was me screaming at the top of my lungs that I got like 3 stage points or something like that. I'm like, and funny story. We'll get to it after the truck race because I popped in another's in. Boy, oh boy. So yeah, and then the second stage, or actually, let me end with the first stage. The first stage, we were like 3-4 wide at sometimes. Like people were like all over the place, and it was just like we're gonna wreck. But this is fucking awesome. How are we not wrecked yet? This is awesome.
Yeah.
You know. And then stage 2, kind of the same thing. Where there was a couple wrecks here and there. I don't think I ever got in a wreck, and I don't think you ever got in a wreck. Did you? In the truck race?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I think I was the whole time.
Yeah, and then we had an incident. I don't think we got stage points in stage 2. Stage 3. Actually, I did get in an incident. I take that back. Stage 3. I got in an incident. I was repairing the damage. It was like a minute and a half worth of damage. So how Mystic has it linked up, or how they run it, is we'll do our pace laps when it's 2 to green, or they'll open up pit road, and then once you get to 1 to green, they'll do their choose cone. So you can pick the inside or you can pick the outside, whatever lane you want. But if you go down pit road during that choose, you are relinquishing your track position, and you cannot choose what lane you want. You are going to go at the tail end of the longest line. For us, me and Aaron, so Aaron didn't have any damage, but he pitted and he stayed in the pits with me. So therefore I could finish getting my repairs done, and we can go out and we're going to be linked up. And, I think I came out in front of you. So I was going to dictate what line we were going to choose. How we came out, we came out with 2 to green. We came out of turn 4 and they were choosing. But while we were coming out of turn 4, I didn't notice, but it was saying the black box, the iRacing black box, which Aaron, I know he has some hot takes, so I'll give you the floor here in a second. I could see him boiling the pot. The pot of water is boiling right now. Okay, yeah. So iRacing has this black box, and it dictates who is where. It dictates if you get a penalty. It gets, it is iRacing's officials. So when we got a turn 4, it was telling me I needed to pass like 5 cars. So I'm like, the Mystic Racing League, they never want us to listen to the black box because whatever reason, I never really get a good explanation on why they do it. And I think moving into the Xfinity Series race, they need to start listening to the black box. But it was telling us to pass people. And in my head, I was like, okay, they're telling us to pass these people because these people got EOLs or they're a lap down, whatever. Because, again...
Sorry to cut you off, but relevant. Because it'll tell you to pass them when they get an EOL, too.
Yes.
If league admins give those guys in front of us an EOL, it tells us, hey, you need to pass these guys. Like, it also tells us that as well. So the fact that it was telling us to pass people was like, okay, well, how am I supposed to know?
Yeah, so you had 5 lead lap cars pit under the 1 to go, which, again, even the admins, the officials, were saying, hey, these cars pitted, they have to go to the back of the line, the longest tail of the line. So they come out in front of us because they pitted while we were coming out of like 2 or 3 or going into 3 or something like that. So it was a tricky situation. I passed him. Me and Aaron passed him, and then we got yelled at because we passed him. And then I kind of backed up and kind of like filled into a spot where I saw because we were going to come to the green. And then we had a quick caution. Actually, no, we didn't have a quick caution because we had a green flag pit stop. You got spun, or you locked up going in the pits, and I came out and I cycled out to be third, and you cycled out to be like 15th or something like that. And
Yeah,
there was a caution, and caution wasn't called until everybody was yelling at them.
that's right.
I remember
Yeah,
you specifically got on the mic and you were like, "Hey, like, what are we doing? Like, there's so many cars just stopped here on the backstretch."
yeah. There was a guy literally like wrecked, parked in the middle of the track at one point, I believe.
Yeah. So from my vantage point, and then I'll hand it off to Aaron. It looked like a net code. It looked like Christian Barnes, the driver number 27, was pushing the 51, and then it literally looked like on his screen the 51 hit the brakes or just came to a complete stop because it looked like his car or his truck went and then set back down and went straight into the outside wall. I was like, oh my god. Like, I was like, so I avoided it. Then while I was avoiding it, there was so much like there was so much that the admins need to look at because I saw that happen, and I was behind the 46 pushing him, and we came out of turn two, and I saw it happen, and he kind of drifted up, and I peeked my nose in. And then Talladega, Daytona, and Atlanta, you can't. There's a yellow line wrapped around the bottom of the track. You cannot go underneath that and advance your position. So, oh, excuse me. So I peeked my nose in, and he just kept coming down, and he forced me underneath the yellow line, and I made the pass, and the caution never came out, and I passed him, and then he got behind me and kind of pushed me, and I knew he was pissed off at me because I passed him, but at the end of the day, I saw that it was going to be a caution. I was going to be fourth. I got cycled to third. But yeah, what was your vantage point? So you saw Christian Barnes just sitting there.
Yeah, I saw. I didn't know what I was seeing at first because a lot happened on pit road. Like I got spun, or I was kind of spun myself, trying to make pit road, and like by the time everything came out, I was like, "What is going on?" Like surely at some point a yellow is going to come. I thought an iRacing yellow or something was going to pop out. It was just like kind of just funky. I'm glad it didn't collect like more people and people were like able to avoid it. But it was honestly like a practice for a carb cup race or like a pickup cup race or something. It was just look kind of funky looking. Um, and do you want to talk about the black box, or do you want to save that for the Xfinity race debrief? Because we can talk about it in both, but we can wrap it
Yeah,
up,
let's
in
talk
one.
about it in both because my frustrations came. Your frustrations came. Well, I guess both of our frustrations came from the Xfinity race, but mine was more in the Xfinity race than yours. I kind of just whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So this is just kind of like a broad stroke, and what we can dive more into specifics talking about the Xfinity race. But once again, we finished really well in the truck race. We basically how we drew it up, get connected, and try to make something happen. We were able to run really well. But
I didn't know you were going to finish the truck race. One thing I wanted to add was they reviewed me passing under the yellow line, and they were going to black flag me for that. But then they reversed it, and then we got to the choose cone because there was like I think 6-7 laps to go, something like that, and I was sitting third, and I don't know where you were. You were further in the
I was,
back.
yeah, I was a couple rows behind you.
So I chose I was going to do the opposite of the 51 because he had the 39, which we all know he was going to pick the inside lane. 51, if he chose the inside lane, I moved to the outside lane. I'm first car in the outside lane. If the 51 chooses the outside lane, I will be third and I will push the 39 and try to get him clear so therefore I can make a move. So there was a late move because there's a specific line you can't cross when you get to the start finish line. If you cross that line at the start finish line, you go to the back of the field. So the 51 was in front of me and he made a late move and I made the late move. I saw him go and then I reversed it. So he was going to start at the top, he went to the bottom, I went from the bottom to the top. They told me I got a black flag. Mind you, I'm not going to mention names, but me and this person have had issues before. And you said that I don't even know how he saw it because he's behind me and I didn't even see it. Right. So he calls me out saying, "Hey, you need to check the 45." And then like 30 seconds late, not even 30 seconds. It was very short. It was like 45 to the back of the line. I was like, "What?" Like, if that's the case, then you need to penalize the 51 because he made the move before I did. So, Brett Wren, who didn't make it on qualifying speed, goes and looks at it. He actually tells race control to reverse it because I was clearly past the line that I needed to be. So I restart second, first on the outside lane. You are on the outside lane. I get a really good jump, get in front of the 51. I get behind the 39. 51 moves up, and then good old Cal Horton Jr. over here is like, slingshot! Slingshot!
You and me!
So once you get behind me, I was like, okay, I'm either going to finish second or I'm going to finish first. And you're like, go, go. Like, white flag comes out. You're like, go, go. Like, outside's clear. I'm like, I don't think it is. It's gonna be really close. I'm gonna turn myself, I feel like, and looking back at it, it would have been really fucking close. And based on how the Daytona truck race ended, I was committed pushing Christian Barnes to the win. And coming out of turn 4, I can't remember who it was, gave me a bad push and it got me loose, and how I just wiggled. The outside lane was there, and I just wiggled and whoop, and then I just, Ryan Newman the catch fence. It was great. It was awesome. But yeah, looking back at it, I don't think there was anything else I could have done, because you were on my ass. I was on the ass of 39. Other than dooring the 51 and moving, but who's to say he wouldn't door me back because he's an aggressive driver. So he probably would have
just killed your momentum anyway.
Yeah. So you finished third, I finished second. It's my first ever podium, your first ever podium. We celebrated. One thing I wanted to touch on, and you can throw your 2 cents in. Not going to mention names, but the broadcaster of the race, I've raced with him before. Very unprofessional, to say the least.
A little hurt my feelings a little bit. I was very jacked up from pushing us to a podium finish, and he made me sound like I finished 25th. I was like, hey man, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, he kept bringing up
a little bit.
he kept bringing up. I went back and watched all 3 interviews. So he interviewed the 39 who won, interviewed me, and then interviewed you. I don't know why he went in that order. I would have, in my opinion, I would have went third, second, and then ended up with the winner.
Yeah.
That's how he did it. Okay, no big deal. But he interviewed the winner, and he's like, how do you think you're going to do tomorrow? And, he went and said his answer. And he was like, well, not if I have anything to say about that because I'm racing. Okay. Cool.
Me too.
Get to me. How do you feel about tomorrow's race? I'm pretty excited. Hopefully we can have the same, whatever. Not if I have anything to say about it, because I'm racing tomorrow. Okay? All right. And then there was a long, awkward pause, and then he started shouting people out for following him. And then he asked me a question, and I started answering the question. And before I can even finish the question, he just was like, Okay, see you later, and moved me out of the broadcast booth. I'm like, I didn't even finish my answer. Like what? And then obviously he
Yeah.
interviewed you.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. Listen, I know it's not Jamie Little or, my friend Jonathan Ramos, who's IDK player. Um, but yeah, it's a little bit to be desired because he was like, not the finish you were looking for. Keep in mind, I was jacked. I was so happy that you and me did well. I know the slump. That was the game plan was stay behind you, try to keep you safe from, Mad Max crew behind us all day, and then try if I can connect you to push you to the win. I was so stoked, and there was a little bit of like, not exactly the finish you wanted today. And he used the term barely squeaking out of top five. I was like, there's no such thing. Like, you can't really put that together. You know what I mean? It's like barely squeaking out a podium. It's like, it's still a good day. You don't gotta make it sound like that. Like, it's not. Anyway, but is what it was. I had a great time in the truck race. I had a good time. We'll talk more.
It was a really really great race.
Had
Probably
an awesome time. Qualify your way in. I mean, it was just everything you could want in a Wednesday night Talladega League race. It was a great time.
only
Shout
issue.
out.
Sorry, the only issue I had was the officiating with the choose cone. I
Yeah,
understand.
I got quickly reversed, which was cool.
Yeah, but if there wasn't a second person, that wouldn't have had to happen. I would have gotten black flagged, and I know
Yep,
you're
and
going to throw your 2 cents in.
yep, and I'm gonna go back to this because I mean the first race of the year for me was the Phoenix race for Cup, and one of the beginning parts of the race, I think it
First
was the
caution.
first caution. First caution. I qualified up front. I think I
It was
qualified like fourth.
it was the first lap, first turn. We had a
Yep,
caution, and you were sitting
yep.
third.
Yeah, I was sitting third, and I was like, okay, cool. I know I have race paces. I was excited for the event. I'm not running for points or anything really. Like I make the races when I can, so I'm not really too butthurt either way. But the choose cone rule that really got me super annoyed because there was testimony from the guy that hindered me. So I was going to pick the outside lane for the restart, and there was the leader, somebody, and then me, and then the guy behind me offset to the wall. So I'm watching, slowing down to see what the leaders do. Okay, I'm going to the outside. P4 had driven up to my side door and taken away the chance for me to go to the outside lane. And by the time I saw it, by the time the people in front of me made the decision, by the time I saw, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I checked my mirror because I have awareness, single monitor. I look to my right and I see there's a guy that you can see every move my eyes make on my stream. Oh, fuck, really? Oh, shit. And then I drive through the middle and they give me a choose cone violation. I'm like, okay, next time I'll just peanut butter and jelly smash him into the fucking wall then. And the guy even came out and was like, no, 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 do not penalize him. That was my fault. I went early. No, 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 no. Like, even he said that. One of the officials came on to second that and go, okay, we'll just make sure. He was in the process of saying that. And then whoever it was that made the final decision was like, nope, I saw it. But I'm like, I I have the whole point of the choose cone rule, and this is a message to the admins and to race control. Because the whole purpose of the choose cone rule is to make your decision based on what the other people in front of you are fucking doing. Sometimes that requires you to slow down to 20 miles an hour. It just sometimes certain tracks are funky like that, Phoenix being one of them. You gotta be a little bit more human with it. I told him this in the post race meeting. I said you can't just rule like AI. Oh, you were in the middle. Do you not see the circumstance of what's going on to my right? I don't understand. So that's always been the back of my mind is like, okay, there's too many cooks in the kitchen with race control, especially when you're not reviewing something like that. Like thankfully they reviewed yours. Thankfully there was a person to have done that. Otherwise it would have been a similar situation to me because it ruined my night. I then go in, I'm then sent to the back. I drive my way through the field, not touching a soul, cleanly driving through everybody. Car gets loose off my right, fucking wrecks me, and then there my day goes, and I'm stuck back there all day long because of a choose cone rule on turn one, lap one. That was not my fault, and I've done this for a long time. And segueing into the Xfinity race, I've done iRacing for a long time at a pretty high level, and I've listened to the black box my entire life. It's not wrong. It's ones and zeros. If you're one pixel ahead of somebody when a caution comes out, it's going to make sure that's right. And I'll save my piece for the Xfinity stuff, but admins, I suggest you start looking at the black box, as we'll talk about, and just the choose cone rule, man. You need to have TV broadcast, somebody on line two saying something, because we've run into this problem a few times now where some bullshit happens on a choose cone and you almost get called for it, or you do get called for it and it ruins your night, and it literally ruined my Valentine's night. Like, my girlfriend was sitting here waiting, like, hey, the race shouldn't go that long, and then all for nothing, right? And all just to get punted and wrecked. So that was frustrating. It was weeks ago, water under the bridge, but it's just kind of annoying that we're coming upon these same issues 5-6 weeks later.
Yeah, then I agree. Jared does the best he can. I think he needs a second person. Um, there was a time where there was three race controls. Some of the officials who run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday ended up saying, "Hey, I am not going to race for points. I'm not going to race for a championship. I'm going to race control with Jared." So therefore, there's three race controls, not just one. There's three. So therefore, they can all review it. They can all throw in their 2 cents and come up with a decision. That's great. That's awesome. I'm sorry that you have to give up a series, but it makes the racing better. Then that went away. Now Jared is the only person in there. All the admins race. All the admins, try to do race control through.
I'm using the restroom. Sorry. Keep
Oh,
going.
okay. Race control through the race. So I they need to get him help. That's what he does and what he needs, and he's still new to race control too. So the fact that they're sitting there and relying on him to make the decisions, and then that happens, it's very frustrating. Even as a driver, I'm like, man, like he needs help. He needs to get a second, third person in there and go from there. Going into the Fall Creek Plumbing Fall Creek Plumbing National Series at Talladega. Same situation. Had to qualify in. I want to say I qualified like 10th, 8th or 10th. Aaron qualified better than I did. And it was very hard to pass. It was very hard to build runs. It was very hard to build any momentum. It was hard to get around people. On top of that, it was a caution fest. It was a wreck fest. A lot of wrecks. We ended up. And there's the handsome boy all snuggled up
Hey.
with a blankie. But yeah, my goal was to get up to Aaron and kind of work with him, and I couldn't. I there were times where I would be stuck on the bottom. When I wasn't stuck on the bottom, I would go to the top and try to make moves, and I would fall further back. I would go to the middle and fall further back. It was just, there was no way to build runs. There was no way to do that and pass people. I'm not sure if it was just the arrow, the cars, or the people in line. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm pretty good at play tracks. I know what line to go. I know when to go. I know how to go. I know how far I can run against the wall. I know how far I can run against the apron. I know how to hold a steady line in the middle lane. So it was very frustrating stage one to be kind of just stuck and trying different lanes and trying with different people, and just like I felt like if I just stayed on the bottom, I'm just riding around in 12th. But if I go to the top, I'm gonna gain 5 positions and all of a sudden just drop back. Or I go to the middle, gain 2 spots, and then fall back to like 20th, and then have to kind of figure out how to get back up to the front. That's how my stage one went. I was having trouble getting up to the front. How'd your stage one go?
I don't remember a ton, to be honest with you. But I remember it
Everything
was hard to pass.
everything in the future
Yeah,
is kind of fucking with us. Yeah, I know. I
yeah.
know.
The second half of the race is a
I had to
little bit.
watch my stream to figure out what to talk about.
Yeah, it was super hard to pass, and a lot of it is the characters. Bottom lane has a disadvantage. People think that it's the shortest way around, and the fact that you have the apron there and the painted line, drivers can physically, okay, that is a constant in my field division. I'm just gonna organize myself on the bottom. It's the easiest thing to do. So therefore, you have sometimes quicker organization. Like after a restart, the bottom lane gets figured out real quick because that line's there, and just you want human nature to gravitate to that. But we saw it. We talked about it. A well orchestrated outside lane will beat a well orchestrated inside lane every day of the week, and especially when the inside lane is is Ernie swerving, and it's hard to pass and bump people when you have the lead car on the inside lane. You have the pusher glued to him. That third guy is as important as anybody in the line, if not more important, because the third guy's job is to support the second place guy, right? His job is to the pusher is pushing the leader. Okay, great. We're gonna haul ass P3 or whoever's behind him. You have to be razor close. Don't push the pusher, but you can't be half a car length off because the pusher has no support from behind. And that was what was happening from memory was like I was watching the third car in line. I was like, okay, he needs to get closer for the momentum to happen. And he was seesawing back and forth, and it was like I can't push you up there because you're gonna turn yourself on me. That eventually ended up happening at some point in the race where I was like, I'm gonna get away from this guy. He's either watching his mirror, and for those of you who iRace, and for those of you who maybe if you don't iRace, I'll try to describe what happens to you when you're at Talladega. A lot of the time you're watching yourself out of the mirror. Like, okay, I see what's going on in front of me. You're watching the mirror a lot, and you're watching the car behind you. So I think what happens a lot is people watch the car behind them and they're peripheral, but they'll have these little adjustments like this with their hands, like lose track of where they are, or they try to correct, and it'll cause this perpetual swerving in the lane. It's like that there is a talent in knowing the track well enough and knowing your hands well enough to be able to drive damn near blind. But so I was behind a guy that was doing that, and I made a move. I timed up a run. I said, okay, I'm gonna wait for this guy to make a swerve low because it was almost like a pretty consistent beat to this song. I was like, okay, I know I can time it when he goes low. Hopefully he realizes that there's somebody who was outside. And he just and he just keeps it low. That was my hope, but nope. Sure enough, he has to counter swerve back up, and he turns himself on my nose and causes a wreck. I didn't really get much damage from it because he completely turned himself on me, and I just kept my foot on it and just kind of like steered to the left and got him across me. But I was like, that's not good. I don't care what league we're in. When we're at that point, and I might have been the league president. That's fine. That is what it is. But man, it's not hard to just keep your eyes straight. It's really not. And when you have accidents like that, and I apologize a few times. I probably over apologized to keep the radio comms clear. But yeah, so that's one thing I do remember from that race that wasn't the big stake at the end of this. Um, and I guess leading off into this, I'm going to tee this one up for your partner. There's a really big skill gap in the league, and if you're having to cut cars, and if you're having to have a cutoff qualifying, you have to send cars home. You have enough people to then warrant an I rating like buffer. Like you have to have a floor, right? Because you have guys that are 700 that are causing potential issues, and we're gonna get into that here in a second. I might as well start this now. There was a guy, I believe he's a 35 car, probably a great guy IRL. I don't know him, but to the black box point, I know I'm rambling here, but to the black box point, the Mystic rule, as my understanding, is when the caution comes out, wherever you can shuffle your deck of cards in line is where you're going to be after the caution comes out, and that's where you're going to pit or that's where you're going to reline up. That's my understanding, and that was the 35's understanding. We're on a wreck on the backstretch. I'm ahead of him. I'm right here. He's right here. Caution comes out. I'm this way. I know the rule still. I know the shuffling rule. I'm not just gonna let off the gas and let him go. He also knows the shuffling rule. So what do? We end up playing a game of chicken, hauling ass up to this group of cars that are already slowed down for the pace car. And I'm like, this guy's gonna be oh my God. So I backed off. He slams on his brakes, he locks up. I see him have to fucking save it. And I'm like, no more fucking bullshit. This is a really bad rule. Listen to the black box. Like I said in the previous segment, it is to the billionth of a second of when it comes out. It is as fair as you can make this sport to be with ones and zeros in a simulation. Don't have this shuffle rule. It causes issues. It caused another issue later on in the race when people were doing the same thing. I'm not a fan. I think if where you are when that caution comes out, listen to the black box. It's good enough for officials. It's good enough for NIS. It's good enough for I think the Coke series. I don't understand why we have to do some overhandling of this piece of steak and we have to do a whole bunch of shit with it. The game is coded pretty damn well. I've never seen any black box issues be caused in this league, by the way. The only time I see it is choose cone, which we all know to ignore. I don't see where we don't need to listen to the black box. I know I'm a purist of iRacing, but like I don't see why we need to overhandle it. I don't see why we need to have this shuffling after a caution rule, especially on a track like that. You could almost see that happening at a place like Bristol, where people are trying to shuffle and barrel into corners still at speed after a caution comes out, seconds after a caution's come out. Not cool. Let you take it from here. That's my 2 cents. This is constructive criticism as somebody that's spent a lot of time doing this. Not to be I know there's guys that have 10,000 I rating. I'm a humble 4,000 I rating that grinded my way all the way here. Take advice from me, please. Like, please listen. I don't mean to belittle or to say anything sucks. I want this to grow and be awesome. Previous league experiences, they told us to fuck off and that their system was better and they weren't going to take much criticism, and it is what it is. But please listen. It'll make the experience way easier on everybody. It'll make the racing a lot better. People will enjoy it. There won't be as much bitching. You'll know we're smart enough, man. Like we know what rules to ignore. We know what warnings and what penalties and what black flags to ignore. We're all cut up on that. But when the caution flies at a high-speed track and hundreds of yards down the straightaway, me and this guy are battling and going 180 into cars that are going probably about 110, and he has to slam on his brakes. Not cool. And he was a 700 I rating. So there, he just didn't understand the situation. Like, he didn't have the car control, didn't have the wherewithal. He just sees, if I can outfloor this guy, I'm going to get the position. First of all, who cares? But 700 I rating guy doing that potentially could have wrecked a lot of cars. He luckily he didn't. So that's my piece on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll give more of my opinion on that here in a second. With a situation that happened that potentially, not potentially, in my opinion, it ruined the race, the end of the race. But I wanted to go back in stage two. We're working with 9211. That's the team. We're not teammates. We're just affiliates for the week. I made it very clear that I will help as much as I can. Aaron will help as much as he can. I told Aaron the car numbers, and when we get to the close to the end of the stage and close to the end of the race, it's every man for himself. That's how. And Aaron has raced on my team before in console racing. I always say that help each other out until towards the end of the race. Then at the end of the race, it's every man for himself. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So we were in a situation. We had one 9222 car ahead of us. He was the leader. I was second. Aaron was third. And then we had two other 9222 cars on our outside. So we had basically a total of 5 cars working together controlling this race. The 20, I believe it was the 24 and the 71 was on the outside. We came to 1 to go in the stage. Aaron was like, "Hey, there's enough room on the outside. This isn't like the truck race, okay? You have enough room." I was like, "Cool." So me and you made the move. We ended up getting split. I don't know how, but we moved to the middle lane. I thought we were going to get the momentum and cut back down, go to the inside, and it was just going to be me and you controlling the race. But when you said when you said that the seas parted behind us and we were gonna go to the back, I was like, "Oh no, oh no!" And then you're like, hold on, clear bottom, go." I was like, like you son of a bitch, I missed my exit. Like so I ended up winning the stage. That was my first ever stage win in the Xfinity series. That was, or excuse me, it's going to be, it's something I got to get used to. The Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. So won that stage. I'm pretty sure I made some people mad on 92-22 because of that move I did. But again, I'm not racing on that team. If I was, I probably would have stayed behind the 8 and pushed the 8 to the stage win. But I'm not on that team. I'm not really even an affiliate. I just was working with them for the week. And
Kind
that
of like a knuckle tuck, buy you a beer in the garage. Hey, it would be cool if you weren't an enemy this week.
exactly. So apparently that made a lot of the team upset with me. Then I had issues with Brett during, or I guess I won stage 1 because I would have won stage 1, and then stage 2 was when Brett was just being very, very aggressive. I was the leader on the outside lane. Brett pushed me in the middle of the corner, got me all sideways. If I was a 700 I-rater like the 35 or some of these other guys, Brett pushing me how he pushed me, and me not having the skills of trying to save a car, because believe it or not, I don't like road racing. I don't like road course racing, but me and Aaron do the Daytona 24 every January. In order for me to get prepared for that, I have to do Formula 1 racing. I have to do IndyCar racing. I have to do the sport car racing. And somebody that was watching my stream saying, "Hey, when you're spinning out, most of the cars on iRacing don't have ABS, which is anti-brake or anti-lock brake systems. So when you're spinning out and you feel like you're spinning out, give it more brake than gas, but keep it on the gas, and it'll get you back straight." And ever since then, and Aaron can vouch for me, I've saved so many cars because of that trick of being able to hit the brake at a certain percentage that I feel, but having still enough gas to kind of just whip the car back straight and just keep going. I don't know how I do it, other than that's how I was taught. I basically taught myself based on that comment. But again, if it was somebody inexperienced and Brett pushed them how he pushed me, it would have been a big wreck. And then who's going to be the blame? The guy that's inexperienced holding that line, or Brett pushing the guy in the middle of the corner? So these cars, even in real life, they even have a rule in real life with the Xfinity series that you can't lock bumpers. You could push, you just can't lock bumpers. And the way he pushed me, the way he pushed me, I was sitting, and then I had to get back out of it, and I fell back pretty far. You picked me up, and then literally like 3 laps later, Brett's leading the line, and he blocks, I believe he blocks the 35, or he blocks somebody into the wall, and gets me, you, and the 35 into the wall. A couple laps later, you're pushing me. You're like, go middle. Go middle. Brett blocks me, almost wrecks me into the inside lane. So I'm like, what are we doing? Well, like, I understand that you want to win. But again, you have to, so many times I've expressed this. In order to win, you have to be there at the finish. If you have a wrecked car with 50 laps to go, you're not going to win. So why wreck your car with 50 laps to go, then be up there, with 10 to go and racing for the win? I don't know. I don't know that philosophy. There was a moment in the race where Brett was pushing the 10 car. I saw you, and it was on a restart. I saw you. Brett in the 10 went up, and it gave me the lane that I needed and the momentum I needed to get to you, to get behind you. Brett saw that, and he wasn't clear and just took me out. And that's when I got on the mic. I was like, Brett, are you mad at me? And he comes over the mic and says, fuck yeah, I am. I'm like, what have I done? And we had a conversation after the race. He's like, well, just, just how you raced.
What?
I didn't, what? And so we had a civil conversation. We talked back and forth, and I'll keep that between us. But apparently I pissed the 92-22 team off, and that they weren't going to help me with the cup race. And I'm like, it is what it is. Like, I don't even race the cup race as much, or cup series as much. I just, I was like, whatever. One thing that really pisses me off is we had 10 laps to go. We were coming to 1 to green. We would have took the green flag with either 9 to go, 8 to go, something like that. We had a caution, and this is going to the black box, so this is my time to bitch about the officials not knowing the black box. We're not supposed to listen to the black box. We're supposed to just blend in line wherever, like Aaron said, we shuffle in, whatever. There was a situation with 2, 3, 4 cars on figuring out where they were. Mind you, the restart before, there was a couple cars that were penalized and were supposed to start behind at the longest end of the line, or longest tail of the line, which would have been behind me. They went to the inside lane, which wasn't the longest line. It was the outside line. They should have been behind me. I didn't bitch. I didn't complain. It was 2 spots. It's Talladega. It's 2 spots. These cars, these people, not going to mention names, these people up here are bitching about 1 spot. Literally 1 spot. Not the lead, not second, not third. They're bitching about like 8th or 9th. And they're bitching about that. It's 1 position. Yes, sure. It dictates who's going to be in front of you, who's not on the choose cone. Whatever. It's Talladega. You're going to get that spot back, or you're going to lose spots. Like, it's Talladega. You need luck. You need, you need more luck than you do skill at Talladega and Daytona and Atlanta. But because they were complaining about it, they had race control review it, see who was going to be it. Race control added 3 more laps of the caution, meaning that we, instead of having 9 laps to go, we're going to have 6 laps to go. Prior, every caution we had, I don't know how many cautions we had, but we had a lot of cautions. Race control, all the admins would come over, hey, let's get in rhythm, let's be easy, let's kind of get in rhythm. They go and review it, and we still have 9 laps to go. I'm like, hey, like let's go ahead and just go. Let's do it. Let's get in and go. I came over the radio. I was like, can we shorten the pace laps then? Like, my theory is you want us to get in rhythm. Give us the 8 laps to go. Everybody, I would assume, we can't really figure it out, but I would assume 8 laps to go. Everybody's gonna kind of be settled until like about 5 laps to go, maybe 4, maybe 3 laps to go. But between that range, that's when everybody's going to get ape shit. But because you shorten how many laps we had left, because you wanted to review something, in my opinion and your opinion, shouldn't have even been reviewed. You should have just listened to the black box, because I don't understand when a caution comes out. The black box, like you said, tells you by the billionth of a second who's in front of who. So If you are 3 wide, okay, 3 wide for the lead. Obviously, all 3 guys are going to be complaining and seeing, oh, well, I'm the leader. I'm the leader. I'm the leader. And then you're going to have race control review it and all that stuff when all you have to do is one thing. Listen to the black box. I understand, oh, well, how we're supposed to know about, penalties and all this and that. You tell us every single week in the the driver's meeting that, hey, we review the entire race. We review why black flags were cleared. We review this. We review that. Okay? If somebody's lying to you, guess what? Penalize them. Penalize them.
Yeah, and we almost had our P2 and 3 taken away.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna get to. It was so before I had to stay up until like 2 in the morning reviewing something because I was told that me and Aaron, because of the situation where we cycled and we were in front of a couple people, that we were going to get black flag for that. And we were going to lose our second and third place spot, and we were going to finish like 15th and 16th, 1 lap down. And I fought that because we didn't break any rules. They were the ones that pitted. We should have cycled in front of them. So, again, black box was right. Admins were wrong. So, getting into this, you want to bitch and complain about one spot. I lost 2 spots. I didn't complain. I was like, it's Talladega. I'm already in the back. Only one way to go is forward. Like, it's one position. In the, most of the people were like, oh, well, my black box is saying that I should be ahead of you. Then why are we not even listening? Why are we not listening to black box? Why?
You have 1 race control or maybe 2 race control, and you have a computer that can track it to the billionth of a second.
Exactly. And humans make errors. The iRacing system has rarely, and I mean rarely, I've only done it for 2 years, but has rarely made a mistake. And the only reason why I'm frustrated is because they reviewed it. It took us from 9 laps to go to 6 laps to go. Everybody then is going to lose their brain cells because they want to get to the front and they want to win this race. And you can't get in the rhythm. You can't trust the people because everybody's going to be aggressive with 6 laps to go. And sure enough, I got wrecked for 15th because people were not using their heads because they had 6 laps to go. And then we had how many green white checkers? We had like 8.
We had a lot, yeah.
That would have been avoidable. Let me take that back. Most of it would have been avoidable if we just listened to the black box. I don't understand. There's no argument. There is no argument on why we shouldn't be listening to the black box. You want to sit there and, sure, okay. You want to send the people to the back that caused the caution. Okay? We can still listen
to the black box.
Listen to the black box and send the people to the back that were in the caution.
Yes.
And if anybody lies, guess what? You review the race anyways. You review the race. So if anybody lies, guess what? It's already proven. There you go. Send them to the back, 1 lap down. Plain and simple. I don't get it. I went on, and I felt bad for Harris, and I felt bad for Aaron. I was more pissed about it, and I was sitting in last place. And I was like, you're telling me we have 9 laps to go, and now you're reducing it down to 6 laps to go because you reviewed something that literally took 20 seconds to review when all you had to do was just listen to the black box and have us go. Like, it was so frustrating. I saw your finger up. Go ahead. It was so frustrating.
Not to mention, it was like 10 minutes. Like, above all else, above shortening the race and all the negative repercussions, it was legitimately like 10 minutes of driving pace speed. If you break that down and you shorten what did it shorten it by? 5 laps?
So
shit like that?
when that review happened, because again, I went back and rewatched it, we had 9 laps to go. We were coming to 1 lap to green, so we would have went green with 8 laps to go.
Okay.
They shortened it 3 laps. So we took the green flag with 6 laps to go.
So you took out, okay, so 2.6 times 3, 7, 8 miles. They shortened that race. If you take that to Bristol, you're gonna end the race with 16 laps to go.
And I'm glad you brought this up. It is a continuous issue. A continuous issue because at Martinsville with the I believe it was the Xfinity Series race, they called the stage with 8 laps to go in the stage.
Yep.
At Bristol, they had like 5 laps to go and they called the stage. Like what like listen to the black box. It will save so much time and so much effort. Everybody has the black box on their screen. So there should not be any confusion. There should not be any issues. There should not be anything. It will literally tell you, hey, let the 88 car by. Or hey, go past the 9 car. There is no wrong reason to not listen to the black box.
And it gives you your answer as soon as it happens.
Caution comes out.
As soon as it happens.
Caution comes out. It will literally say, let the 88 car by, pass the 45, or stay behind the 6. That's it.
Yep.
If somebody gets an EOL, guess what? It literally updates and says, hey, you need to pass this car. Somebody gets a wave around. Let this car by. I don't understand, and there's no right explanation because everything will go back to, okay, well, why can't you just listen to the black box and do this? You want to send people to the back that caused the wreck. Okay. First of all, NASCAR doesn't do that. I don't know how that's even in the right scenario because everything is frozen at the time. So if somebody wrecks and the time freezes or the caution comes out, everything's frozen at the last timing loop. You know, Dale Jr. won the Phoenix race because he was first in the timing loop when the caution comes out, but he was in pit road when it happened. So just listen to the black box because it screwed so many people out of it. And that race, and I'll pull up the what was said, because I thought it was very, very interesting what was said with the races. This was sent yesterday at 9:30 in the morning by the league president. Good morning, drivers. Coming from myself personally and our admin team, great job of all the competitors this week. We are proud of you. Compared to our previous super speedway events, Daytona and Atlanta earlier this year, we definitely have gotten better. That's the goal. We are improving. Things will always happen. You will have good races, bad races, crashes happen. It's part of it. Keep digging because we're all in the race together. Having fun is the number one goal here. Once again, super proud of you guys. Really good week for us. Enjoy your weekend. Let's have a good week at Texas. See you all there. So, I did not watch nor participate in the Cup Series race. I participated in the Truck Series race. Aaron participated in the Truck Series race. Probably the best plate race or super speedway race I've ever attended or experienced. And I've done a lot of Draft Masters. I've been in a lot of leagues. I've been in a lot of special events. Yeah, that was a great race. I can't really say anything about the Cup Series race. However, the Xfinity Series race, if I had to mush all 3 series together and come up with a grade out of 5, again, I don't know what happened in the Cup Series race. I don't know how good it was or how bad it was. But the Xfinity Series race alone, Fall Creek Plumbing, Grand National Series, whatever, that series alone is bringing down the rating to like at least a 2.5 or a 3 because of how the officiating went, how the racing went, and how people were just making dumb decisions on if they were clear or not. I hate calling people out, and I called Brett out. I was like, dude, you were not clear. And he specifically told me, because he was the one that told me and Aaron to protest the penalty that we were going to get on Friday when we came out of pit road and we passed people. He was the one, and he told me he told me that he was expecting me to give him some slack because of that. If I'm going to sound like a dick, it is your job as a league official and league admin to do that. I understand that we're good friends, good pals, whatever. But it is your job to be like, hey, you need to review this, and protest it, appeal it, whatever. Was it nice for him to give me that warning? Absolutely, because then I went and I looked. Go ahead.
It wouldn't you if you listened to the black box. He wouldn't have had to go and throw us a bone legally in the eyes of the rule book. I'm not trying to get too heated on Brett. I don't mind the guy. I think is asinine how he raced us, considering everything. But like you said, that is your job. And if you listen to the black box, your job becomes a lot easier. But something that these admins need to understand, right? And I think I'm not trying to put words in their mouth or try to put philosophies into what they do, but you have to relinquish a little bit of control to iRacing. You can still appoint your penalties to who you need them to. If the 88 causes a wreck, EOL. Okay, cool. Like, you can still do that, and the black box will enforce it to everyone. It makes your job, but we never listen to the black box. When has it been wrong, apart from Choose Cone? When has it really been that wrong? I've been on iRacing a long time, just over 7 years. I've seen it happen a couple times, or there'll be some weird, funky, delayed green, some glitch, it'll get caught in something, but it's not wrong very often.
The only time that I've seen it get fucked up is when we have a caution before we cross the start finish line. That is the only time right. I've only like hey, like, what are we supposed to do now? Because now you have certain guys that, were ahead of me that I need to pass, and then there's certain guys behind me that need to pass me, and like, whatever. But listen to the black box, man. Like, it will make the race control and the admins have such an easier job. They are literally making it harder for themselves to do it. Like, oh, well, now we got to review, this incident to see, where Aaron's going to line up compared to Derek. Okay, Aaron was like, how if you and I were side by side, how are you supposed to figure that out? It is so close, like thousandths of a second. We're talking like a pebble to see who is where.
You'll never know.
And then
race control will need to control F12 the camera and dick around with it for 45 seconds to figure out, oh no, you were ahead by 3 pixels. And the black box tells you right then.
Yeah, and then ultimately, what in my brain, what they're gonna do is like, okay, well, let me go back to the time that the caution came out. Okay, the caution comes out. Well, that's really close. What is the position? Okay, Aaron is 6th and Derek is 7th when the caution comes out. Guess what, Nimrods? That's listening to the black box. It's plain and simple. That Xfinity Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, because I know I'm going to get in trouble if I don't say it right, that race alone got ruined because we shortened the race because we had people complaining about one spot. One. It wasn't for the lead. It wasn't for, it probably was for like 6th, 7th, whatever. It still doesn't matter. It's Talladega. It is literally Talladega. You are going to gain that spot or lose that spot just like that. So
I have a proposition. and you may have talked about this, because going back to the Bristol race, I had an issue with the decision making of race control. And keep in mind, like I said before, I'm not trying to be a control freak here. I'm not trying to be Mr. Elitist 4K. I'm the best there is. Really not trying to be that guy. I've just done it for a long time. And yeah, iRating does kind of mean something. Not for nothing. It kind of does. How well do you understand not only driving, but the whole atmosphere of this thing, right? So it's like Bristol, the Bristol race, 30 lap stages. Okay, you got to do two things here for me, admins. You either have to, when I say you have to, humble opinion I'm presenting. Either don't count caution laps at any track because you're shortening the race for people. I can only imagine the broadcast having to talk for 10 minutes straight when you added, and not only just delayed green, we're going green next time. It was delayed green, full pitting, full lap, full two to green, like the full sequence all over again. It could have just been delayed green. All right, we all good. All right, we're going green this next time. It takes 2 minutes to get around that track. Sometimes it is track specific. You can make track specific rules. They made Hamlin. They make certain things, right? So like 30 lap stages at Bristol. Well, by golly, I did the math on that. If that goes green, it's going to be just over 8.5 minutes of green flag racing. That is nothing at all. And especially if there's cautions, which of course there were. How many green flag laps did you run at that one stage in Bristol? 12?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was something ridiculous.
it was stage 1 and stage 2. The stages, well, okay, towards the end of stage 2 for the Xfinity Series race, was it went long green flag, and then we only had one caution in stage 3, and then it went green flag for like 60 laps. But no, I agree with you, and I brought it up to Brett. Me and Brett talked, and I was like, listen, like, because that was my frustration of like, hey, you guys just screwed everybody, like, not just like one car. No, you took 3 laps away. That screwed everybody. You were complaining about how we had to get in rhythm. You were complaining that we had too many cautions. Well, guess what? Taking 3 laps away is going to make people frantic. It's going to make people like, oh, I only have 6 laps to figure out what I'm going to do. I had 9, but now I have 6. What am I going to do? I don't know. Do I go to the inside? Do I go to the outside? Do I go to the middle? Do I go to the top? What am I going to do? That's how people were going to react. And I'm like, this is going to be like, I literally told you. I was like, well, after I got told that they're not going to shorten the rate or shorten the caution laps, I was like, well, now it's going to be a shit show. Great.
Because you and me have done this long enough. Please listen to us.
And the one thing I wanted to touch on, they run 6 days a week. 6 days a week. So you have Wednesdays is the truck race. Thursdays, the Xfinity race. Fridays is the Cup race. Then they're doing the Cars Tour. They have a Formula Series or IndyCar Series. And now they're adding ARCA into this. There's 6 different series. I'll count 5 because the Indy or Formula, whatever. There's 5 NASCAR series. 5. The Cup is your primary. It is your premier. It is your top tier series. Okay? I understand this is the first time this league has been on iRacing. It has been on a console for a very long time. But me and Aaron are telling you this. If you get a Cup Series, group together of drivers ranging from, I'd say, 2.5 to 5K iRating, I'm telling you, it is going to be the best fucking race you're going to ever hear or ever see or ever attempt to race in. Sure, there's still going to be idiots. That happens. It happens in real life. Carson Hocevar, hello, Ty Dillon. All these, you have real life idiots in real life NASCAR. It's going to happen. But if you're going to do an ARCA Series race or ARCA Series, have the people that join. I'm not gonna say you have to be. If Aaron comes in and he is a 4.5K, I'm not gonna have Aaron do ARCA. Fuck no. He's been rated like, go look at his stats. It's public. It's not just hidden away. Oh, okay, this guy is 4.5K. How many years has he been doing this? He's been doing this 7 years. Oh my god. Let's put him in the Xfinity or the Cup Series race. Oh, he can't make either one. He can only make the Wednesday. Well, I guess he's going to dominate in the Truck Series.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. Okay, sure. Like, you want to give everybody a chance. If I was specifically told that, hey, Derek, I'm the points leader now in the Truck Series. Hey, your I rating does not meet the expectations of the Truck Series. You cannot compete in the Truck Series because it is capped off. You are above that cap. I will more than happily run part-time in trucks and run the Xfinity Series. I'm 10th in the Xfinity Series points. Sure, yeah, I would be. Man, I kind of wish I was the points leader, but I'm the points leader in trucks. Okay, like, I'll get over it. That's how I am. But you have these people, 800, 700. You have less than 1,000 K 100K whatever I'm trying to say, 1,000 I rating. These people either A, haven't been on iRacing that long, or B, like Aaron said, only do league racing. They don't do official racing. I do official racing. Aaron does official racing. That's how we get better. That's how our racing craft gets better. That's how our racing style gets better. Because we're racing against different people, different types of level, different types of drivers. Every single race. I raced 2 trucks and 2 Xfinity Series races this week at Martinsville. Both of them were really, really crappy, but I learned. I learned not only just from what I experienced in the league a few weeks ago, but what I experienced in the actual race. I'm like, oh, these guys are doing this? Huh. That's cool. This guy is 3,000 I rating, and I'm a 2.3 or 2.4, whatever. Let me look and see what this guy's doing differently from what I'm doing. Oh, he's entering high, entering low, and then entering high. That's what I was doing at Bristol. Let me do that. Oh my god, it works. These people need to have some type of cap of like, hey, you either go and run officials and get better and get your I rating up, or you're going to be in the lower series. That's what I'm going to say.
100%. 100%, because you cut your teeth in officials. I don't care. People can bitch about officials all you want. You get wrecked. It's a waste of your time, whatever, whatever. But if you want to be faster, you will get faster. But if you're a safety rating guy that just runs in the back and you don't learn from fast people, you never will learn. And it's really frustrating to see a league with potential. I think the reason me and Derek are so passionate about this is this league has incredible potential to do really awesome things and to be a damn near close to perfect series. Go ahead.
The league official works for NASCAR. Why are we still having problems? And not to criticize Brandon, not to criticize him, but if this is how NASCAR's ran, it explains everything that me and Aaron has been bitching about the whole NASCAR season.
Yep.
My point.
Yep. No, 100%, man. And this league has the potential to be really cool. You're already having a lot of drivers turn up. What's going to happen, right, is if you're not growing, you're going to be dwindling. And that's very true with NASCAR leagues because there's a lot of things competing for people's time. People have work. People sometimes can't make every single Thursday Xfinity race. That's fine. But the thing that happens, right, is like people will eventually, if things are run crappy, that guy you're banking on every Thursday night will kind of stop showing up.
Bobby
And
Rafferty.
you'll have guys that will eventually leave. I was that way with the previous league we were in, which is I can't make every single race anyway, and when I do, I kind of have a shitty time. I'm just not going to do this anymore. So in order to prevent that, you have to, one, keep trying to expand, right? You have to keep trying to go and gain 10 people because if you lose one and you only gain one, you're even. But if you don't go after anybody new and you lose one, you've lost one. So leagues that get run in funky ways, or there's an issue, or race control is over handling situations, or constantly trying to tamper down everything all the time and overhandle, especially the black box situation, man.
I,
I
I
don't want to. I don't. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I don't want to have to play a game of chicken on the backstretch with a 700 I rating because you don't listen to the black box system because you deal with this shuffling system. I could floor it into the pack of cars and be like, "Oh, I was ahead of the 35. Give me my spot."
The previous league we were in never had a live race control. We always listened to the black box. I had no issues with how that was ran. I had no issues on how cautions played out and where I needed to be. I never had issues with that. I had other issues and other egos controlling how things were ran after the races. This league has very big potential. This league has a lot of great drivers. Some need work. I'm not going to point out anybody, but how you make that better is the system that they need to go. We have people, like you said, we have people that you're sending home. Okay, cap off the truck series at a certain I rating. Cap off the Xfinity series at a certain I rating. Cap off the Cup series at a certain I rating. And that means that, oh, hey, Aaron, you could only race Cup. I
That's
can't
fine.
I can't make Cup. I can only do Xfinity. Okay, cool. You can't race for a championship then. You can race at every single race, but because of your cap, you can only race at Xfinity. Cool. You can't race for a championship though.
Right. And
I'd be
I'm
okay
okay
with
with
it.
that. Right, and that's the thing that you understand, right? Is when you have an ecosystem that's healthy, you're gonna have a few people there you're gonna have to say no to. You're gonna have guys that are below the threshold, minimum height requirement. You have to be this I rating to ride this ride, but you can't be this. You can't be a 6K coming down here whooping up an ARC or a truck, guys. You can't have that. You have to put rules and regulations. Another thing too, coming from a guy that is in the 4Ks, I have access to a lot of different leagues. I know guys that are in the popular streaming and YouTube market with iRacing that I know personally. I know a lot of the Coke Series guys. I've raced with a lot of them. I have access to be able to go do a lot of things, right? And if to attract top talent, and we're talking about the Cup Series, making it your premier series, you have to do things to differentiate trucks from Cup. You can't have like the same laps or like 10 laps more. You can't have little dinky little thing. Like it has to be a wholesale difference league to league because people like me and people that are talented and people that, have racecraft are going to stop coming because they're going to see that it's a clown show. So, okay, another thing too, we all take time out of our night for this, right? We already have it. Hey, on Wednesday night, I'm doing something at this time. At 7 o'clock, I'm doing something. However long that fucking takes. I'm not saying go till midnight. I'm not saying go 4 hours. But in order to differentiate yourself, to keep people coming back, make the truck races a little longer, please, or stop counting the cautions because that's a waste of people's night. I'm getting animated because of that, because as somebody that has a very limited time slot for leisure activities such as iRacing, which it is, you can't come in here and give somebody just barely more than like an official race. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't get over that Bristol thing because I was listening to the stream and I was like, 30 lap stages at Bristol, do they know that it's a 15-second lap? You run 4 laps a minute. That's crazy. What are you talking about? So you have to make this worth people's time. I'm giving criticism as a human being that likes to iRace and who wants to see this league do well. I have a vested interest in this league doing well because you're in it, and we have a show about stuff, and we talk a lot about it. I have a vested interest in this league in particular doing well. All the pieces are there. It's going to take just a few chess pieces to move and be shifted before it's going to be farming itself. Things will be really, really easy. You can even make a change this year. The last league we were in, when I proposed making changes, because once again I've been doing this for a long time, and for some reason Guys that don't do this for a long time have really passionate opinions, and they're typically really wrong. Just to be frank, a lot of the time, like we're talking right now, black box, easy fix. That saves 80% of all problems in races, apparently, in this league, right? But my thing is this, my last piece on this is just it's constructive criticism. You don't have to wait until next year. That's something that really pissed me off about the last, like, a year off my life. I could be dead in a year. Why not change something after, in 2 weeks we're doing a big change, or at the end of the All-Star break we're doing a big change, or Easter on a bye week. You can implement a change right now, and people will start to pick it up. There won't be as many dumbasses keying the mic up. Black box says I'm supposed to pass this person. What am I supposed to do? Like, that'll eventually fizzle out. People will eventually get the gist of it, and race control can focus on actual race control shit, not just dumbass stuff. So please listen. It'll become a lot easier. I know race control, they're humans too. They get off on being race control just like I get off on being a driver coach. They want to handle the race. They want to. I get it. I get it. Play your role, but when you have, keep in mind, technology plays the role in real life. The computers in the cars tell them where they are. So listen to the black box. You're not, just because it's technology, you don't have to not use it and be that much of a purist. No, they go by technology too. So use the black box, put limits on iRating, send people home and go, hey, grinding officials, there is utility in that. There is tons of utility in running in officials, like you were saying. You and me have cut our teeth doing officials. The people that just run at leagues every Thursday, I hop in, and those people don't get very good. And those people tend to bring leagues down, especially when there's a short lap count. I do like the faster pair. I think that's a good idea. I think keep that, because bullshit can happen. I'm cool with it. Maybe not in the Cup Series, because at that point it's gonna massage itself, and high I ratings will do the work for you. But I like it in Xfinity Truck and probably the ARCA, because bullshit happens. You get a 700 guy running you over into a corner. I don't want to, I want to keep racing. That's my last thing. It's all constructive criticism, and it's things that we know are going to work, and there's no reason they don't. And like you said, we haven't gotten a good reason why they don't use the black box. They can't think of one because there just isn't one.
Yeah, and my thing is, and I told Brett this, you want the races to be good. You want green flag racing. You want great passing. You want green flag pit stops. Can't have that if you have the combination of 700 I rating and 30 lap stages at Bristol. You can't. It's one or the other. If you told me, hey, we're going to extend the racing, we're going to have more laps to race, but you're still going to be racing with 700 I rating, fine. I'm perfectly fine with that, because guess what? Those 700 I rating people are going to wreck themselves out. Plain and simple.
There's more laps to figure it out.
Or, hey, we're not going to shorten the race, but we're going to go and we're going to cap people off. The 700 I rating people can't race with you. Cool. I'm still going to be racing. Like I have 30 laps at Bristol to find out how to pass somebody that's stronger than me. Cool. I'm okay with that. At least we could get in a rhythm. We can't get in a rhythm if you have a 4,000 I rating person and a 7,000 or a 700 I rating person racing against each other. And you cannot tell me that if you get to the Cup Series and you have a 4,000 I rating and an 8,000 I rating going against each other, it's going to be the same thing if a 700 and a 2,000 are racing against each other. Absolutely not. The 2,000 person is way more experienced than the 7,000 person. Just like how the 4,000 person might not have as much I rating as the 8,000 person, but they know what they're doing. They just don't know how to have the speed and the microseconds of what they need to do as much as the 8,000 person. Right. So, that's our rant. I know we've been going on, it's 2.5 hours into this podcast. We had a lot to get off our chest because I'm more passionate than Aaron is with this. I want this league to be successful. Although I was in a slump, and I'm still kind of in a slump, I enjoy having, going to work and having people literally watch my streams, watch the broadcast. Our sponsor Colton hopped in and watched not only both of our streams but the broadcasting stream. There's people that invest in me, invest in Aaron, invest in other drivers. Make this league the great league that it's supposed to be. I understand it's the first year, but you have people. You have Bobby Rafferty. I raced with him. Aaron raced with him. He was a great race car driver. Kind of a hothead. Understandable. I'm a hothead. But he had good points. And he left. He left because he had good points. I don't want to leave because I have good points and you're not listening. And you have this, we're really going to stick on not listening to the black box. Give me a reason why. Because I guarantee you, every reason you're going to give me, I'm going to fire back. Black Box does that anyways. Well, does Black Box... You got nothing.
That's a good reason.
You got nothing.
And it's okay. And that's okay, race control. Like, it's fine. There's only 2 of yous. Sometimes it's only 1 of yous. You don't have NASCAR officials at every 50 yards of the track. Make it easier on yourself. We're not going to think any less of you. We're going to think more of you. And to the point of Bobby Rafferty, it's like you're going to eventually be left with, we saw it happen with our previous league. There was cutoff. You have to qualify your way in. And eventually, after just a series
egotisticals,
of bad decisions...
Yep. Sorry.
After a series of bad decisions from admins and bad race after bad race and frustrating race after frustrating race, eventually you got about like 12 people left.
Not even that, partner. There was races where we only had 5 people.
And that's the thing. And that is the fate for all leagues if you do not listen to people. Please, all the growing pains we're telling you, all that first year was really shitty. Me and Derek are talking trust us, like we are almost like aliens coming down giving ancient Egyptians technology to build the pyramids. Like, hey, we're advancing you a couple years here. Please listen. Like, if you take what we're telling you, increase the race length, make it an event for people. It's a league. It needs to have a league feel. There's a reason why NAS is so popular, because it has a different feel than a fucking normal official race. Make the Truck Series race, if IRL it's 200 laps, make it 160 or 170 in sim. You know, people will take the time, and if you don't have the time, you don't have the time. Make it an event. Cup Series needs to be the longest. Make it 90%, 85%. You want green flag pit stops? You want stuff to happen? Don't artificially try to make pit stops happen by lowering the fuel percentage in the gas tank. Don't do anything artificial like that. Or increase them a little bit to not take too much time, and don't count caution laps. Make it an event for people. Otherwise, people will leave. They'll think, oh, why am I wasting my time for an hour and 10 minutes of kind of a bad time? I'm not going to do that again. Why would I do that? I'm just going to do officials, try to grind iRating, or just go to another league or whatever. People will leave. They will find reasons to leave. Good drivers that will leave you with a cesspool of Nimrods. And that quickly, any new person that comes in goes, oh my God, this is a Nimrod convention. There's 12 guys in here. The average SOF is 1,100. And it's just a Nimrod convention. I'm out. You have to keep growing. You have to take these constructive criticisms. I know it kind of probably hurts, but it really shouldn't. It's your first year doing this. It's like a team of advisors, a board of advisors. Listen, make these changes. People give their time anyway. What's 45 more minutes on a race for them? What's an hour more? Not a whole lot.
And we're getting done at a reasonable time too. Like with these races already, we're getting done at like 9 o'clock Central Time. So another 45 minutes. Okay, we're finishing at 10. Sure.
Or
okay.
Count cautions.
Okay. Well, we pay by the hour for broadcasting. Tell me, Arca over here is charging $10 to race for a championship. Guess what? You could fucking do that with the other trucks Xfinity Cup. I don't have a problem sending you $10. I'm sure people like kids in the high school that race with us. Hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I'm trying to race for a championship. I'm trying to be big on iRacing. Can I get $10 so therefore I can race in this league? Yeah, go ahead. Sure, $10. Do the dishes.
Right.
Like, like it. I. There's so much that you can do. I'm not. We're not saying you have to do everything. We're not saying that. Just one little change. The black box, I promise you, the black box would be the biggest change of your life, and you'd be like, why haven't we done this before? I,
Yep.
Enough of that.
Yeah.
We're heading to Texas for the Mystic Racing League, and then Cup or the NASCAR series is heading to Darlington. Darlington, very hard track. How many? I mean, we're gonna have so many people get in the wall. We've had so many things happen at Darlington. Who do you got? What team do you got? What manufacturer? Who stands out for you?
Um, well, considering it's where BK got his only win in the next gen car, I like maybe they have a good set from last year. Not too sure. It's hard to it. I'm liking a Bubba Wallace. He qualified his ass off there last year. I remember he set down an absolute heater, ended up scraping the wall, but it was like pole by like a long shot. So I don't see why they wouldn't just build upon that. I think my my guts tell me Bubba Wallace next week.
Yeah. Excuse me. I think a Toyota is going to win. Toyota has always been good. Eric Jones has been good there. He drives a Toyota.
Yeah, Eric Jones is good there.
Tyler Reddick's good there. Bubba Wallace is good there. Denny Hamlin's good there. Kyle Larson's always good there. Christopher Bell's always good there. So I think a Toyota will be good. Or Chris Buescher. I got money on Chris Buescher possibly coming in, or even Josh Berry coming in and stealing that. Texas for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. I'm not too. I'm not ready for that yet. I struggle with 1 and 2 with how sweeping 1 and 2 is, and how much banking and how wide it is. The first couple laps is really good. I could get to the bottom, but within 10 laps, I'm struggling to get to the bottom and having the speed coming off. I just get beat. 3 and 4, perfect. It's like a normal track. I'm sure that me and Aaron will get into the lab and mess around with that. Look after the show ends and leading up to next week. Look on my social media stuff. I'm going to be unveiling a paint scheme. It's my throwback paint scheme. I'm excited for it. I just got the final okay to release the paint scheme out to the world. I think it is one of the greatest paint schemes in NASCAR history. So, what do you got going on this week?
Not really sure too much about what I'm going to be doing iRacing. ARCA is at USA International, which I'm kind of like about. But I believe yeah, Darlington's good for me in NIS. I'm going to kick ass in NIS this week. I'm really good at Darlington. Um, just I appreciate the rhythm there. That is a track that rewards practice. That's a track that rewards skill and timing and motor function and decision making and overall car knowledge. So it's one of those ones that it takes a full, well-rounded driver to do well there. Discipline. So I'm excited for that. I think Xfinity there this week, be fixed or open, I think is going to be a really big potential for iRating gain, because just how those cars drive naturally, and like I said, that track is very hard, and you're gonna have guys that are talented push it too hard and smoke the wall coming off a corner. So I'm excited for Darlington as just a driver, because I put a lot of hours in the lab there, and I think I got my first NIS win there, and I believe I got one at Dover. That's that same stretch of time. So I'm excited for Darlington. I'm going to be streaming probably a decent bit. Road to 5K is still on. I'm going to be doing probably some Dover races tonight and ARCA, just to try to maybe cheese a hundred iRating or so. But yeah, I'm excited for Road to 5K to keep going on.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Again, we apologize. This has been going on for almost 3 hours, but we, like I said, we had a lot to get off our chest. And we think this would have been the best way to do it. Because we didn't want to argue with the admins. We didn't want to argue with the officials. We know some officials, if not all the officials, watch or listen to the podcast. So take what you will, you know. If you're just going to just say, oh, fuck these guys, I guess fuck us. We're trying to make this league better. It just needs the slight changes. And we don't mean to have any hostility towards anybody. But like I said, no truck race for me. Only the Fall Creek Plumbing Grand National or the National Series presented by Fall Creek Plumbing is on Thursday. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming anything else. Since I got Wednesday available, I might do the NIS, but I got to figure out when that is. I don't want to do the Open because I kind of suck with the Opens right now. Yeah, excited. I'll be doing some Xfinity Series racing there, and I'll be driving my my beautiful new throwback scheme there. So, I'm waiting for Aaron to get back. I know he.
Sorry,
probably...
I was going to pee my pants.
I kind of figured. So yeah, that does it for me. Aaron can plug in where you can find him and all his streaming stuff, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, catch me on Aaron Baum Racing on Twitter and on Twitch. I'm definitely going to be streaming some NAS attempts this week. I'm going to try to hit a good bit. My work schedule is working with me this week, so I'm going to try to hit a lot of the NIS attempts and maybe one of the opens to see where we stack up. But yeah, just to echo off the point, Mystic Racing League, we love you. We want this to grow and expand, and we want it to be as awesome as we know it can be. It's just literally like 3 changes, and the whole thing will be its own beautiful ecosystem. And you know, it'll attract more talent, and it'll attract just more numbers. So thank you for listening to that. Take what you want out of it. If you, like you said, if you want to tell us fuck off, that's fine. But just trying to help any way we really can.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out, so we're heading into April. I got a couple big things happening in April. So April 20th and 27th, we might have to move some dates around and do some live stream a different day. But definitely, obviously, Easter being the 20th, and then I will actually be on vacation on the 27th through the 29th. So, gonna go see some Nothing More Tear It Down with only 6 songs. So, yeah, follow me, Derek Jewett 2, on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, Club Penguin, YouTube, Pog, Roblox. I was trying to get him to react. Yeah. So we appreciate everybody tuning in, giving us the comments and everything. We will see you next week for Darlington, Texas, and everything else. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Goodbye.